Chapter 250. What is there to be scared of? In the thick forest, Yu-Ru, with her soft and flexible body like the lightning in the air, gently flapped her snow-white wings, flashed up then vanished. Little rascal, as Yu-Ru bowed her head to glance at Shi Yang with a strange look, she shook her head reluctantly and accelerated. While being dragged along by Yu-Ru, Shi Yang's breath was heavy, his pupils were bloodshot with full of blood veins like a bloodthirsty beast with a murderous look, which could scare others out of their wit. Yu-Ru was the matriarch of White Wings clan. Although her soul cultivation could not be considered high and profound, her knowledge of special forces was much more profound compared to that of the demonic Sound clan's leaders. She quietly released a stream of profound qi to explore the nerves and vessels inside of Shi Yang's body. Her pupils suddenly trembled, her eyes lit up a splendid light. Impossible. Yu-Ru was really frightened, mumbling something. She again released many streams of profound qi, gathered all of her spirits together to understand the strange condition of Shi Yang's body. Each stream of profound qi went searching, which was as if thin filaments moved in and out of Shi Yang's veins. They carefully explored his nerves, veins, bones, and intricate systems inside of Shi Yang's body. Then, they responded in detail to Yu-Ru. As the result, she could somehow see through everything in Shi Yang's body. Not long after that, the eyes of the matriarch of the White Wings clan flashed on and off again. She looked at Shi Yang in a daze. "Little rascal, are you really a human warrior?" Yu-Ru suddenly asked with a serious face after contemplating for a while. Her voice was like the lightning which penetrated Shi Yang's head violently and made his ambiguous consciousness become lucid. In his sea of consciousness, the 5 devils were still stirring up. As plenty of negative emotions spread out from the inside of the 5 devils' bodies and rolled into the sea of consciousness, Shi Yang's sea of consciousness transformed silently and affected his mind slowly. When his mind became a bit more lucid, Shi Yang raised his head, looking at the heart-touching beautiful lady of the White Wings clan. Because of the mesmerizing fragrance from her body, he could not help but react. His breathing became heavier. "Why do you ask me about this?" Shi Yang constantly inhaled many times to control his feelings, frowned and asked in a low tone. "Humankind's body cannot be that sturdy, your nerves and veins are firm and large. It seems that you have cultivated for a very long time. There are no impurities inside of your body. Each cell within your body is very lively, contains a terrifying implosion. You do not even need to use any profound qi. The power from your body is not that less of a normal disaster realm warrior. Are you really a human being?" Yu-Ru's face was really strange. She paused for a while and then continued, "As far as I know, to my knowledge, even the mighty bodies of demon tribes warriors at the same level could not compare with yours. At the same Earth realm level, the bodies of the Wings race's outstanding warriors are still not as good as yours. What did you do to attain it after all? With your sturdy body, the Earth realm, together with the Sea of Consciousness, this soul accomplishment is indeed extraordinary. How did you?" Yu-Ru was terrified. While exploring Shi Yang's body, she found out his special soul and his mysterious sturdy body accidentally. Once this peculiarly talented man grew up, it was impossible to imagine the possible levels that he would be able to reach. She started to feel regretful in promising to spare his life after this newfound knowledge. Suffering such tough cultivations, and weaving in and out through life and death can make you become like this. Shi Yang repressed messing feelings in his sea of consciousness, slightly clenched his teeth, breathed heavily and urged, "Do not waste more of the other's time. Quickly bring me to the giant stone ancient city over there. I am afraid that I cannot withstand it any longer." "Damn you little rascal, what a low-class guy." Yu-Ru burst out laughing, shaking her head, and reluctantly said, "Forget it, wait until we solve the counterattack problem, then I will interrogate you." Upon her words, Yu-Ru promptly urged the power from her body, bringing Shi Yang to the giant ancient stone city of the demonic Sound clan. However, at this time, a strong flow of soul vibrations dispelled out from Shi Yang's body. This flow was extremely fierce, it spread out all over his body in a blink and attacked Yu-Ru unexpectedly. The 5 emotions of despair, fear, bloodshed, greed, and resentment turned into a flow of vibrating souls, covering the matriarch of the White Wings clan in a very short time. The 5 devils in the Sea of Mind was a strange martial technique from the Bloodvein Ring. It was created by the combination of the negative emotions that dispersed outwards from Shi Yang's meridians and his spiritual seal in the Sea of Consciousness. It had not only a part of his consciousness but also the tremendous soul power. While Shi Yang was talking to Yu Ru, a crazy idea of killing Yu Ru sprang to his mind uncontrollably. This idea came up in the Sea of Consciousness that led to the action of the 5 devils in the Sea of Mind. The 5 devils in the Sea of Consciousness had already been restless. They now suddenly became disordered, considered Yu Ru as a target, and attacked Yu Ru. Soul attack. Yu Ru calmly smiled, and slightly shook her head. To our wings race, the soul attack is the stupidest move that one could make. The 5 emotions of despair, fear, bloodshed, greed, and resentment turned into a subtle beam of souls twisting towards Yu Ru quickly, wanted to affect Yu Ru's mind, and put her under the control of these emotions to become a puppet of the 5 devils. Still very bad, Yu Ru stood motionless while the 5 kinds of emotions went into her head. She whistled slightly all in sudden. Melodious whistle hovered around the forest. It was like a sharp sword that cut through the soul filaments, wiped out the souls which were emitted by the 5 devils completely. Quickly, the soul attack that was projected by the 5 devils was thoroughly obliterated by the whistle without leaving any traces. As soon as Shi Yang's eyes was a little more lucid, he shouted, "Let go of me." "Why? Are you?" Yu sickly smiled. "Now, aren't you in a hurry to find girls anymore? Let me go, let me stabilize first. Because you've already cut those souls, I could escape from the soul counterattack of the Sea of Consciousness successfully. Give me a little more time, I can recover soon." "As you wish." Yu Ru slightly smiled then let go of him. Shi Yang's body rolled in the air, his face changed tragically. He urged his profound qi quickly, his eyes scanned around looking for any branches that he could land on. The matriarch of the White Wings clan was hundreds of meters above in the sky. She let go of Shi Yang as he wished, without worrying whether if he would die from his fall or not. "You dared to implement the soul attack upon me. You are brave." Yu Ru hovered in the air flapping her snow-white wings. A cold light flashed on and off from her eyes. Crackle, crackle. Rustle, rustle. After constantly breaking more than 10 branches which were as big as a muscular man's arm, Shi Yang's painful body stabilized little by little. In the midst of the ancient tree's leaves, he raised his head, looking at the mesmerizingly beautiful lady in the sky, shouted with anger, "Did you really want me to fall down to my death?" "No." Her snow-white wings swayed, her mesmerizing straight legs shot a few kicks before descending slowly. She laughed and said, "Aren't you all right?" A strange, hard-to-see light projected from her flapping wings. Crackle, crackle. The branch on which Shi Yang was lying down broke again. He continued to fall down after struggling to stabilize himself from the first fall. His entire body was shaken in extreme pain. "Oh, why did you fall again?" Yu Ru gently landed with an encouraging smile. "It's not bad, you fell down from up high above and did not die. Little rascal, your body is really sturdy. Not bad, not bad. I like men with vigorous bodies. So, do you want to give it a try? I am good at everything. I can guarantee that you will be satisfied at the ultimate." Shi Yang said as he gnashed his teeth and gums. Yu Ru's watery eyes flashed up a cold light. She said calmly, "I myself want to see as well. If you could do so, do you dare to come closer?" As being the matriarch of the White Wings clan, her strength and rigidity would not be dominated by her beauty. Until now, there was no one who dared to tease and play with her like this. She became angry, but a strange feeling of excitement also appeared at the same time. "What's not to dare?" Shi Yang asked with a cold face. He stood up, rubbed his ass, warmed up a little bit, then approached straight to Yu Ru. Yu Ru's snow-white wings on her back retracted quietly. At this moment, the matriarch of the White Wings clan was a little nervous. Her eyes lit up a strange light, calmly stared at Shi Yang who was coming step by step. Her body projected solemnity and power, which could have been only found from the top-class warriors. Her body had tremendous power which was enough to backlash and kill Shi Yang. The power slowly dispersed and covered her whole body. Before, when she exposed her solemnity and impetuosity, male warriors had to be well behaved and felt ashamed in front of her. They did not even dare to look at her, let alone express their lusts to her. Even lustful duo Long had to be well behaved. He never dared to expose his lust to her directly. She also assumed that Shi Yang was not an exception. When he was approaching step by step, Shi Yang's face was innocent, as if he did not know what was about to happen. He kept walking underneath her violent waves of power without any hesitation. While Yu Ru still remained leisurely, anxiety lit up in her eyes suddenly. She coldly looked at the big, strong man coming towards her, and felt startled weirdly. But at this moment, a satiric smile appeared at the corners of Shi Yang's mouth. He stopped 10 meters away from Yu Ru, looked at her attentively, and said, "Are you scared?" "Am I scared?" Yu Ru felt disgraced, coldly laughed, puffed out her big breasts, and said, "I am standing here. If you really dare, come and touch me." A big flow of vibrating power like a whirlwind emerged behind her. The violent and brutal power kept emitting terrifying energy. This was what she was scared of. Shi Yang, I don't even know what I should be scared of. Shi Yang burst into maniacal laughter and urged the electric shift to advance towards the matriarch of the White Wings clan in just a blink. His big hands stretched out and placed themselves on those big firm breasts of hers without any fear of death. After groping and rubbing her breasts strongly for a good while, he shouted before really enjoying this wonderful feeling, "If you kill me, your tribe will never be able to leave this place. Only I can help you and your tribe get out of here." He clearly knew that the Wings race and the demonic Sound clan wanted to get out of this place as soon as possible. They would not regret anything to leave this place. Therefore, regardless of how angry the matriarch of the White Wings clan really was, he believed once he mentioned about this, she would be always vigilant. While his hands pressed and massaged her breasts deliberately, he shouted all in sudden without daring to enjoy more of the feelings that were aroused from fondling her big, voluptuous breasts. "Hello guys, from now on, we will post one chapter every day. Leave me your comments and suggestions. You can also tell me if there is any novel which you would love to be translated. We will check and see if your desire can be satisfied. Have a great day and enjoy this wonderful novel." Chapter 251, Arrogant Bluster. Deep in a forest. Shi Yang's big hand laid on the stunningly round and firm breasts of the matriarch of the White Wings clan. After the terrible hair-raising scream, he waited for the rage of the hurricane and thunderstorm to come. Unexpectedly, the brutal attack of Yu Ru did not rise up yet. Shi Yang not only implemented the petrification process but also used the dark shield. At the same time, he quietly circulated profound qi, accumulated all the forces into his body to prevent himself from a murderous strike which could kill him dreadfully. However, after 10 seconds of anxiously waiting for the violent repercussion attack that was supposed to happen after he had fondled her white, silky breasts, it, finally, did not come as expected. Shi Yang got bewildered, looked at the matriarch of the White Wings clan. He realized with a surprise that her skin had turned red, her eyes were dreamily infatuated, her breath was rushed. She stood still weirdly. Even her retracted snow-white wings trembled slightly before stretching out again. He felt a warm and elastic feeling where his hand was placing. On top of the beautiful bosom perked a grape-sized bead. It was gradually getting bigger. Oh! Boom! Tremendous lust was like a volcano exploded. The calmness in Shi Yang's eyes which had been just recovered became a burning flame all in sudden. The lusty flame in his body rose up non-stop. In just a moment, Shi Yang lost his mind again. He was totally dominated by lust. His other hand also stretched out and placed upon the round bottom of the noble lady, and rubbed it unceremoniously for a cool while. Suddenly, Shi Yang embraced her tighter and bit her pink-red lips. Fragrance struck to his nose. A mesmerizing feeling shook him as if there was an electronic current running inside of him. It was extremely pleasurable. Shi Yang was nibbling on the beautiful cherry blossom lips of the White Wing clan's matriarch. His two hands were not free, instead, they constantly caressed her body, freely disgracing this habitated lady satisfactorily. Yu Ru gasped, hardly breathed when being compelled to kiss Shi Yang. She could not stand but moan. The matriarch of the White Wings clan had never been violated by any man before. After letting out a moan, her mind that was immersing in a deep valley recovered rapidly. Her beautiful dreamy eyes flashed up a cold threatening light. Right after that, a tremendous flow of power from her delicate body exploded gushingly out. Boom! It was as if Shi Yang was being compacted by a mountain. His body was like a kite with its broken string blew far away by the wind. He spat out a mouthful of blood while his body was still in the air. The dark shield in his body was broken, his skin and flesh were torn. After falling down, his whole body's energy was agitated and extremely messy. You dare! You dare! The face of the White Wings clan's matriarch was cold and grim. The murderous look in her eyes was like a real sharp sword shooting outwards. Shi Yang's entire body did not have any energy anymore. All kinds of forces were stirring up and about. He wanted to move, but he could not use even a single beam of power. He could only stare at the dazzling sunbeam advancing without being able to do anything. His body got seriously injured just in a blink. The 5 devils in the Sea of Consciousness, on the contrary, were more restful. They no longer dared to revolt at this particularly critical moment. I can help the Wings race get out of here, Shi Yang said through his clenched teeth. If I am dead, you will have to stay here forever. The beautiful eyes of the White Wings clan's matriarch flared up a strange white light. Her gruff feeling started to cool down little by little. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. White lights which were advancing towards Shi Yang abruptly diverted. They zoomed over the 2 sides of Shi Yang's ears, and intensively shot into the ground. Shi Yang let out a sigh silently, wiped the blood off the corners of his mouth. He said without fear, "You are so mesmerizing. Don't blame me, any man in front of you will not be able to control himself. It is unbelievable that you have never been experienced in any relations between a man and a woman. Actually, I have earned a good bargain." In this situation, Shi Yang did not even try to be pitiable. Instead, he also dared to say perverse words. Such a formidable lust indeed. Sharp backfire from Yu Ru struck out Shi Yang in a blink of an eye. Strange lights from her eyes shot out uncontrollably. If it wasn't for Shi Yang's timely scream, even if he could avoid it for one time, he would not be able to avoid it for the second time. Although his body was intensively firm, he would not have been able to bear it. You deserve to die. Yu Ru breathed hastily, her eyes sparked a cold light, her body was full of sharp, murderous look. She gritted her teeth fiercely while glaring at Shi Yang. She was so angry that her delicate body shivered slightly. Shi Yang slowly sat up. His skin and flesh were torn up, fresh blood ran freely all over his body. However, confronting Yu Ru's furious glare, he bloomed a bright smile. "Haha, death is worth it. You are too mesmerizing. Even if I have to die to kiss you, I would still be happy to do it. Haha." Yu Ru's snow-white wings slightly wavered, her graceful body moved forward to Shi Yang. A white sword which was condensed and refined by profound qi emerged on her palm. She put it to Shi Yang's throat, looking at him with cold and dreary eyes. She said with an icy voice, "You are really not scared of being dead?" "Yes," Shi Yang burst into laughing and calmly nodded. "Of course, I am scared of being dead. But I know you will not kill me. Haha. I am the first man who ever kissed you, aren't I? You still dare to say?" Yu Ru was suddenly convulsive. She was so agitated that she burst into laughter. "You really think I won't dare to kill you? Even if I didn't kill you now, wait and see after you break the shelter. Because of what you have done today, I will not only kill you but also make you die miserably. By that time, you will know that falling into my hands will be worse than Duo Long's." "I believe it." Shi Yang nodded his head and said deliberately, "I know that your cultivation stage is higher than Duo Long's. If you really want to kill me, I absolutely cannot die easily." Yu Ru's beautiful eyes were dazed in a short time. The more she looked at the boastful guy in front of her, the angrier she got. The little detestable rascal was really lusty and did not care about life or death while disgracing her. He freely did disgraceful things to her flawless, virgin body. She regretted not being able to cut Shi Yang into thousands of pieces, but she knew this was not the time to kill him. For the Wings race to get the hell out of this damn place, she definitely had to be patient. "You are really mesmerizing," Shi Yang softly mumbled. He slowly moved his neck out of the attacking area of the dazzling light sword in Yu Ru's hand while observing carefully her expression. After being safe from that dangerous sword, he stood up quickly. Yu Ru's arm, with the sword on her hand, stretched straight out while looking at him with a frigid smile. She withdrew the sword slowly after a little bit hesitation. After releasing a sigh of relief in silence, Shi Yang's eyes flared up. He suddenly moved one step forward, held the white, jade-like hand of this charming noble lady determinedly, and said, "As things have already happened, will you then be my girl?" You. The matriarch of White Wings clan suddenly waved her arms strongly and glared at him furiously. "You crazy little rascal. You want me to be your girl? I have never met any insanely dreamy man like you. What do you have? What can you give me? Based on what reasons do you dream to have me? Only because that you've kissed me?" Yu Ru sickly smiled, her eyes were very cold. She constantly calmed herself down and pulled herself together because she could not kill him now. "Your cultivation should be at the first sky of the spirit realm." Shi Yang smiled leisurely, and said, "This is really a terrifying realm. I only have the earth realm cultivation. The gap between you and me is the nirvana realm and sky realm. It should take hundreds of years for an ordinary man to go through these two realms. Most people cannot reach these two levels in their entire life." Yu Ru got dazed, looked at Shi Yang astonishingly, then said, "You are not stupid. You clearly know the difference between us two, yet still dare to say rubbish. Based on what? I can surely reach the spirit realm in 50 years maximum." Shi Yang shouted. "I will surpass you in 60 years at most. Ha ha. Ha ha." Yu Ru burst into laughter till she cried after hearing what he'd said. She pointed to Shi Yang with a mocking face. 50 years to reach the spirit realm, 60 years to surpass me. Ha ha, that is so funny. I have never seen any dreamy, arrogant man like you. Nowadays, are all the guys in the outside world short-sighted like you? No, that's not it. Shi Yang shook his head. Ordinary men in front of you do not even dare to come close to you, not to mention daring to disgrace you regardless of being alive or dead. Yu Ru's mocking face loosened. Very good, you are more daring than the others indeed. But this doesn't mean anything. I think an ordinary Earthrealm warrior would totally explode to dead with one of your uncontrollable backfires. It is actually also hard for a Nirvana Realm warrior to still be alive. However, look, I am still standing in front of you." Yu Ru's beautiful eyes brightened. As she got stunned by Shi Yang's weird behavior, she had not noticed this. When Shi Yang reminded her of this fact, she realized the fact that Shi Yang was still alive was a miraculous magic itself. She trusted her strength completely. She knew how tremendous the power of her ruthless strike was. Exactly as what Shi Yang had said, not to mention an Earthrealm warrior, even a Nirvana Realm warrior would be certainly dead under her strike. But Shi Yang was still standing in front of her and boasting. "You really are competent," Yu Ru had to admit. "But your crazy aspirations do not match with your current capabilities. If you had the spirit realm now, I would have considered your proposal." Shi Yang had a little headache. He knew that in this place, neither the demonic Sound clan nor the Wings race had any good intentions for him. He did not believe in the previous promises that Di Shan and Yu Ru had made. He knew that after he had broken the shelters, death surely awaited him. He had dared to disgrace and disturb Yu Ru was because he hoped this would remain as a special feeling in Yu Ru's heart. If Yu Ru had a little crush on him, his chances of survival would be a bit better. After having realized this experience with the beautiful lady who had never tasted such sexual affections, he was more confident in carrying on his plan. However, when having started his plan for real, he had realized that it was much too difficult. Regardless of how much he tried to convince her, she was still unchanged. "How difficult it is, oh, your body." Yu Ru suddenly covered her mouth, shouted in surprise. Her beautiful eyes lit up a strange light as if she was witnessing a magical thing. As Shi Yang bowed his head down to see, he realized the immortal martial spirit was starting its efficiency. The wound's healing speed was fantastically remarkable. "Immortal God King, you are the descendant of the 3 God Kingses from the ancient time." The matriarch of White Wings clan was stunned for a while before screaming astonishingly. Her eyes flickered, her beautiful face was totally frightened, and her graceful body slightly trembled. Chapter 252, God's Will. Shi Yang stood still in front of her. Even though he was motionless, the wounds on his body were healing with a remarkable speed. After a moment, all the open wounds closed completely. There were only a few blood scars on his chest, and they were also gradually fading. After the immortal martial spirit had entered the third phase, the recovering speed of Shi Yang's body was much faster than of before. While fighting with other people, his wounds could heal immediately, which could keep him immortal. The matriarch of White Wings clan was astonished, looked at him in a daze. She mumbled, "Immortal God King, is it really the will of God?" Shi Yang squinted, a big question mark appeared in his mind. He did not know why the matriarch of White Wings clan had such a drastic reaction. Did the god's blood of the three god kings in the ancient time possibly have anything related to the Wings race? With that thought, he hesitated for a while before saying, "I have the immortal martial spirit. The god's blood running inside of my body is indeed similar to the god's blood of the three god kings. Is this somehow also related to you?" Yu Ru's eyes regained the calmness. She nodded after a little hesitation. Demonic Sound clan and Wings race had great gratitude for the three god kings in the ancient time. Without their help, our two races would not have been deported here, but exterminated instead. Shi Yang was agitated. Yu Ru raised her head up, looked at him with a strange face. She thought for a while, and said with some confusion, "These occurrences had been mentioned in an ancient book which belonged to our ancestors. That year, the two races were deported to this place and could not get out of here until this very moment. The ancestors of the two races used to swear that if the three god kings or their descendants could help the two races get out of here, the two races would crown him and obey him forever." "What?" Shi Yang's eyes brightened instantly. He said with a smile, "As you said, if I can help your two races get out of this damn place, according to your ancestors' guidance, you will have to serve me like a master. Am I misunderstanding it?" Yu Ru miserably smiled and nodded her head. "According to ancestors' guidance, if you can really accomplish this feat, we will serve you as if you were our master, indeed. Just it has been such a very long time, many things have changed, our ancestors had been long gone. Because that time was much too long ago. I am not sure if everyone still follows the ancestors' guidance." Shi Yang was surprised, thought for a while. He then looked at Yu Ru with blazing eyes, and asked, "First, disregard the other people, how about you? Will you follow the ancestors' guidance?" I don't know." The matriarch of White Wings clan slightly shook her head, murmuring to herself, "Is it really the will of gods? Is it because the ancestors had broken their oath for the first time that the crossing to the three god king realm is happening now? If not, why does that little rascal have heaven flame, and how come he has the blood of the descendants of the god kings in ancient time? Is it destiny? Some things have been soon defined." The matriarch of White Wings clan mumbled with a panicked face. She felt as if she was deeply immersed in a huge maze, struggling inside of her own mind. The three god kings in the ancient time, besides the immortal god king, who were the other two? Shi Yang suddenly asked. Before, although the ice-cold flame had mentioned about the god's blood, it still had been very ambiguous. Anyway, it was a very long time ago. It was not easy to find a person who had information about the ancient times. He did not want to let this chance slip by easily. Besides the immortal god king, the other gods were the true dragon god king and the heaven poison god king. They had the true dragon god constitution and the heaven poison god constitution. The true dragon god king could take the form of the god dragon and possessed the strength of the god dragon, who was extremely mighty. The blood of the heaven poison god king could poison any living creatures. A drop of his god's blood could poison the entire sea, eroding all creatures inside of it. When the matriarch of White Wings clan talked about the three god kings' hidden information, she looked very serious, her voice was deliberately earnest, her face was full of respect. The three god kings were the summit of the existence in the ancient time. Without their defenses, our two races should have perished. Therefore, even though the two races have been deported here, we were still very thankful. Our gratitude towards them has been carried on throughout every generation in order to forever engrave their merits. That's good. Shi Yang smiled. If Di Shan, Duo Long, and the other leaders follow their ancestors' guidance, Once I help you get out of this damn place, all of you will serve me as your master. Ha, that is perfect. Eshish, such a good dream. Uru shook her head while scolding at him. Those people have wicked intentions, they will not be content with it. Their positions are high and noble, they absolutely will not lay eyes on you. Except if your stage and strengths are higher than theirs, only then may they follow the ancestors' guidance reluctantly. But you are only at the Earth realm, you are clearly a stupid dreamer if you want them to submit to you. Uru stopped a bit, then continued, you'd better not show the immortal God King attributes, otherwise you will bring death upon yourself much faster. I will first ask Di Shan to see his attitude regarding the ancestors' guidance. If Di Shan is willing to follow it, you may still have some hope. But if Di Shan does not want to abide by the ancestors' guidance, you should not have any further thoughts. After her words, Uru grabbed Shiyang again and flew up towards the giant stone ancient city of the demonic Sound clan without saying anything else. On the wall of the ancient city, the outstanding geniuses of the new generation of the Kiara Si, Cao Zilan, Jiyu Linglong, Pan Zhe, and Chu Yangqing were all confined in a cage, wearing gloomy faces and dreary eyes. In the Kiara Si, these people were on the top of the combat list. Normally, their families often possessed noble statuses and had servants for everything. However, in this place, they were just common prisoners, could be killed at any single given moment by their jailers. The feelings of hopelessness made them lose their previous inherited arrogance. They were now a group of people with bowed heads and necks retracted, retreated to a single corner with fear more than ever. Yag rubbed his chin, his dull eyes kept sweeping about Cao Zilan's and Jiyu Linglong's alluring bodies. It seemed he was considering a good time to take these two girls. Cao Zilan and Jiyu Linglong both had powerful martial spirit on their bodies, which was very useful for his cultivation. Although Chu Yangqing's appearance had nothing special, the energy in her body was very peculiar. Yag felt that there should be some hidden secrets in her body, thus, he also planned to unclothe her to see if there was something hidden underneath her clothes. The two girls, Shuefei and Siyu Bai, were on the other side talking to each other in a low tone, sometimes glancing at the people being confined in the cage. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. From the sky, some figures suddenly descended on the wall near Yag. Besides Kaba, Ya Meng, Yi Tian Mo, there was also Di Shan of Blackwing's clan. Di Shan's arrival surprised Yag, Yi Siyu Bai, and Shuefei greatly. They hastily kowtowed respectfully. As being the patriarch of Blackwing's clan, Di Shan had not only strong powers but also an unimaginably high cultivation. Whenever demonic Sound clan and Wings race had a conflict, Di Shan's decision was always the most important and the final one. His utterance of a single sentence could turn the entire demonic Sound clan into a sea of blood. That was why demonic Sound clan's people were really scared of him. After Di Shan arrived, he squinted, glancing at Cao Zilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing, then frigidly asked, "Are these the three female prisoners?" These three female prisoners." Ya Meng nodded his head. "Wait until that little rascal arrives, let him take them." Di Shan slightly nodded and coldly said, "That little rascal really has good tastes. These three human grown-up girls are actually beautiful. Such exceptional beauties." Cao Zilan's beautiful face changed slightly. She sat up in silence, glanced at Chu Yangqing, and listened concentratedly. Chu Yangqing's and Jiyu Linglong's eyes also changed. Their faces were a little frightened, they turned their bodies to listen to the conversations of the pagans with an insecure feeling. Since these girls had been captured and confined, although they encountered many troubles, they still have each other's back. Therefore, they felt insecure but not too much terrified. However, this time was different. The targets of these Wings races people were obviously themselves. Therefore the three girls started to be worried and felt frightened. They did not know how their lives would turn out after all. "Father, this thing?" Yag spoke up after hesitating for a while. A little discontent appeared in his eyes. "These three human prisoners have been captured by me, you see." "Stop talking nonsense." Ya Meng coldly shouted. "You will not dream of them any longer, everything is done." "Father." Yag shouted. Your son is not satisfied. Di Shan smirked, glanced at Ya Meng frigidly. You cannot even handle your own son. Ya Meng's face turned pale, he angrily looked at Yag. Yag's body suddenly calmed down, nodded his head enduringly, bowed his head, and said, Father, I understand, I will listen to your direct order. Cao Zilan looked at Di Shan and asked fearlessly, What have you arranged for us? Di Shan was a little astonished, looked at her weirdly, and said, You are brave. No worries. We will not kill you, we only need your bodies. The three female prisoners Cao Zilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing suddenly changed their facial expressions. Their gentle bodies trembled, their eyes were full of anger and disgrace. Compared to being killed, losing your virginity is extremely lucky. Di Shan's face was emotionless. It is not the Wings races or the demonic Sound Clan's men who will do the deed, instead, that guy is also of the same race as you all. This is your fortune. Same race? Jiyu Linglong was astonished, asked urgently, Who? You will know soon. Di Shan smiled wickedly. He did not mention anything about Shiyang. The three girls looked at each other. They seemed to know vaguely who it was but did not dare to continue asking. Zoom, zoom, zoom. The sound of flapping wings came up to the people's ears. Not long after that, a white lightning zoomed overhead. As the lightning zoomed over, the matriarch of the White Wings clan gently descended from the sky with Shi Yang in her hand. After throwing Shi Yang onto the floor without regarding his pain, Yu Ru sickly smiled, had a quick glance at the three female prisoners. She then laughed out loud, and said, His tastes are not bad. Every of these three girls is very beautiful. The girl with the mask is also charming. This little rascal is a lusty devil indeed. It is you. Yag's body agitated again, his eyes were full of resentment. The three female prisoners Cao Zilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing could not help but tremble, looked at Shi Yang who had just fallen down to the ground. All of them goggled at him, not knowing what to do with the target that they had initially chased. Chapter 253, Desire Wealth in Shiga. Shi Yang fell down to the ground, warmed up his arms and legs for a while and turned towards the others, sickly smiled, then looked at Cao Zilan and others confined in the cage. The moment Shi Yang appeared, Cao Zilan, Chu Yangqing, and Jiyu Linglong felt as if their world had collapsed. A long pursuing way from the Vault C area to here, before having entered the Abyss battlefield, in the combat with the Ying family, they had gone through many losses. It had not been easy to enter the Abyss battlefield. Inside this collapsing castle, because of a sudden outbreak of Shi Yang's, they again suffered serious losses. Thinking again carefully, Cao Zilan realized that since their initial confrontations with Shi Yang, their qi was constantly decreasing, and that they could never occupy anything from Shi Yang's body. Currently, they were being confined in this damn place. Shi Yang, on the contrary, became the distinguished guest of this pagan race, could not only talk but laugh freely with Di Shan, patriarch of the pagan race, and also be rewarded by them. What did happen? They were all human beings. Why was there such a big difference between them and Shi Yang? Not only Cao Zilan and the others wanted to vomit blood, but Yag was also very angry. He had wanted to ask something but had been stopped by Ya Meng, very unhappily. Sure, Shi Yang. Ye see you by bewildered, her beautiful face turned red. Hey, these three female prisoners are for you. The faces of Cao Zilan and the others slightly changed, everyone clenched their teeth and gums. Nodded smiling, Shi Yang coldly looked at Cao Zilan. You did not expect that this could have ever happened, didn't you? Sooner or later, you will not die easily. Cao Zilan's graceful body shivered a little, angriness and panic flared up in her eyes. If you dare to disgrace us, even in being a ghost, I will never forgive you. Being a ghost? Shi Yang burst into laughter. I am afraid that you will not even have a chance to be a ghost. If I had wanted to kill you, I definitely would have made both your soul and spirit perish, never transmigrate. Thus, even in being a ghost, you cannot and will not take revenge on me. When speaking these sentences, Shi Yang's expression was cheerful, talking as if crushing people to ashes and perishing people's souls and spirits were just his common pleasures. Di Shan raised his eyebrows, and nodded his head. Little rascal, you are very cruel. No wonder why you have so many pursuers, but you are still alive. That is obvious. If not, he would not have had the heaven flame. The patriarch of the Black Wings clan slowly stepped towards to the cage confining Cao Zilan and the others and swung his arm. Different currents of silver lights like a chain of clouds went into the cage, then alternately crept into the bodies of Cao Zilan, Chu Yangqing, and Jiyu Linglong. The three of them were very frightened. Boom! The cage broke, leaving a hole. Three people, Cao Zilan and the other two, felt as if they were being grabbed by an invisible hand, floating out of the cage towards Shi Yang, and slowly descended in front of him. The three female prisoners stood up, their charming bodies slightly trembled, the brightness in their eyes faded. Their entire body's energy was gradually being sealed. Currently, these three girls have no more powers to use, and are like ordinary people, so they cannot harm you. Yu Ru smiled, mildly looked at Shi Yang. From now on, you can freely violate them as you wish, haha. For the future of our two races, sacrificing these three girls was still a very good bargain. Ya Meng's expression was musing, there flashed up a god light between his eyebrows, three peculiar souls flew out and then crept into the point between the eyebrows of the three female prisoners. Cao Zilan's face showed pain, she definitely could not stand it, and held her head moaning. I have put the death-binding thought into their heads. If they have suicidal intentions, that seal will spread out, and their bodies will be motionless. Ya Meng sickly smiled, speaking to Shi Yang. You can be comfortable with using their bodies freely, without having to worry about them committing suicide. Shi Yang was surprised, smiled and nodded, thank you. Rotter. Cao Zilan and other two simultaneously shouted, there was full of resentment in their eyes, they resented Shi Yang to the bone. If they could have gotten out of the constraint, they would perhaps have risked their lives in killing Shi Yang. No need, you just need to destroy the shelters well for our two races, not even mentioning these three female prisoners, even the demonic Sound Clan's girls can also be yours as easily as flipping your hand. Ya Meng harumphed coldly. But if you cannot help our two races, haha, I will make you feel as if it was better to die than to live. Don't waste more time. Di Shan frowned, showing his impatience. This little rascal's cultivation progress is related closely with our two races' future. I will temporarily stay here, watching his progress. The matriarch of White Wings clan gently smiled. I think everyone should try a little harder. I remember that our two races have some useful things for the progress of this human warrior's stage. Because of everyone's benefit, I think we should be more generous. Shi Yang's face became excited, laughing out loud. Di Shan, Kaba, and the others looked at one another. Everyone had a freakish face, their eyes kept moving. The White Wings clan has the white jade spirit fruits, which has a big effect on stabilizing one's mental state. The white jade spirit fruit has been refined for more than 1,000 years, and produced only 3 fruits at a single time. I have commanded my people to bring one here. For the welfare of our two races, we've already given our fortune. Yu Ru smiled and said. Upon her words, the faces of Di Shan and the others drastically changed. White Jade Spirit Fruit YAG, Dicu Bai, Shuefei, and the youths of the new generation of the demonic Sound Clan could not stand screaming terribly. YAG's eyes showed a sense of conspicuous greed. The White Jade Spirit Fruit was the pagan treasure of the White Wings clans. It could only have been produced in an abandoned area where the Sun-Moon spirit was prevented. Each of the White Jade Spirit Fruit was extremely precious. It was highly useful for stabilizing and nourishing the soul. Even though the Wings race had difficulty in soul cultivation, using one of the White Jade Spirit Fruit could have made a great breakthrough in one's soul mental state. For the people of the demonic Sound Clan, the White Jade Spirit Fruit was even more precious. They were natural experts in soul cultivation, thus, after using one White Jade Spirit Fruit, their soul accomplishment would have grown tremendously. After baby of the demonic Sound Clan was born, and in using one of the White Jade Spirit Fruit, their soul would be remodeled, directly reaching the strength of a warrior at the stage of disaster. This was a miraculous treasure which could make a soul mutate. In this abandoned land, the White Jade Spirit Fruit of the White Wings clan was absolutely an extremely precious treasure, which had a great attraction to either the Wings race or the demonic Sound Clan. Yu Ru had gotten crazy. She dared to take one white jade spirit fruit just because of one human guy. Was she really public-spirited and selfless like this? For the two races' future, she really devoted a fortune. Yag breathed hastily, his face turned purple with rage, and glanced at Shi Yang abnormally fiercely, regretting that he could not have put him in his mouth and devoured him. Such a waste of a heavenly gift. Such a disgrace to a heavenly gift. What qualifications did that little human rascal have? How come is it that he could have a white jade spirit fruit? What is it that the matriarch of the White Wings clan want to do? Could it be that she has a crush on this little rascal? Hasn't it been said that the matriarch of the White Wings clan should always be pure, that she could not be married her entire life? Many thoughts glided in his mind. Yag was angrily clenching his teeth, and said to himself that if he had a white jade spirit fruit, he would efficiently make the most use of this fruit, in increasing his power to become one level higher. What a pity. Matriarch Uru, you are not kidding? Kaba's face was extremely weird with wide-opened eyes. This little human rascal is worthy enough for you to use one of the treasures of the White Wings clan? Ya Meng, Yi Tianmo and Di Shan were also astonished, looking at Uru. At first, Shi Yang had not known about the wonder of this white jade spirit fruit, but after carefully observing Yag, Kaba, and the others, he understood that the white jade spirit fruit was a marvelous treasure. If not, these people would not have been that surprised with such strange faces. What had Uru wanted to do? Hadn't I just played with her just a little? And she already has a big crush on me? Did I really have such a big lustful attraction like that? Shi Yang thought to himself, but kept back all his astonished feelings with an indifferent face, and pretended not to know anything about the white jade spirit fruit. Didn't you see that the change of the Sound Beast Mountain was really strange? Uru's eyes were gradually getting severe. She spoke with a serious face. The control style outside the Sound Beast Mountain has been bigger and bigger. The control style inside of it has been also getting stronger and stronger. Do you not really think of anything? Shouldn't the ancestors of the two races have had already shared the same thoughts about this anomaly? Di Shan, Ya Meng, Yi Tianmo, and Kaba were shocked, seeming to realize something in a sudden. Their eyes were now full of fear. You are saying? Di Shan wanted to say something but stopped, glanced at others nearby, and finally did not continue. I think this should be it. Uru smiled miserably. This is our only chance, but maybe also a route towards our utter destruction. What to do specifically? I think everyone already had your plans. I will go back to the Black Wings clan. In 5 days max, I will come back with a blackhead lotus. I hope he will not disappoint me. Di Shan's face was a little confused, staring at Shi Yang. He then swung his arm, leaving. Huge black wings flapped a couple of times, and his shadow had completely disappeared. Blackhead lotus. Yag felt cottonmouthed, and swallowed constantly. His eyes sparked peculiar lights. His facial expression was that of half smiling and the other half crying. On the city wall, the youths of the demonic Sound clan, including Shui Fei and Yi Siyu Bai, were shocked. Their eyes lit up, bewilderedly looked at Shi Yang. Their faces were as fierce as if they had wanted to devour him. Di Shan, stop by Duo Long, and convince him to offer a bottle of the Heaven Fountain concentrated water. Uru looked towards Di Shan's leaving direction, and hastily said to him. Di Shan had disappeared out of sight, but his voice sent out from afar. Okay. What? Yag, Shui Fei, and Yi Siyu Bai could not stand anymore, loudly screaming like seeing ghosts in the daytime, and looked towards Shi Yang with a face which could not be any weirder. This is really. The youths of the demonic Sound clan mumbled, extremely frightened, and seemed to be violently shocked. Cough cough. Yi Tianmo, looking a little ashamed, turned towards Uru awkwardly and said, You all know, the good places in this abandoned land have all been conquered by the Wings race. The three of us have nothing to offer. It is not that we don't want to participate, but only. Ya Meng and Kaba were also slightly embarrassed, constantly smiled miserably, showing their indigent gesture. I know. You are a little poor indeed, but all the good things here exactly do not belong to you, but. Ya Meng and the other two were silent, waiting for her idea. The soul knowledge of the demonic Sound clan is much better than that of the Wings race. Yu smiled, and deliberately said. Regarding soul cultivation, the demonic sound clan has many favorite comprehensions. To the wings race, they are useless, but to this little rascal, they are very useful. What I meant was for the three of you chieftains to open up the secret scripture sources for this little rascal to perceive. You have already known that the stage progress cannot lack these soul comprehensions, haven't you now? The three chieftains' faces changed, and simultaneously said, "This, how can it be? The favorite soul comprehension of demonic sound clan is our tribe's essence. How could we let a human being learn further about it?" Meng was shocked for a while, suddenly stood up, and said, "If he knows the secrets of the demonic sound clan, and once he progresses, doesn't that mean that he will become the whole tribe's Shiga?" Yi Siyu Bai and Xue Fei were also incomprehensive and frightened. They understood the advantage of the demonic sound clan, although the demonic sound clan was in an unfavorable position, thanks to the soul accomplishment, they were a murderous attack on humankind. Their soul secrets could have easily removed the protesting ability of the human warriors at the same level. On Shi Yang's body, there was already the heaven flame, which was the nemesis of the demonic sound clan. Once he knew about the secrets of the demonic sound clan, it would have become very difficult for them if and when they had wanted to use those soul secrets to control and kill him. If one day Shi Yang could have reached the heaven level stage, there would not be any top-class warriors of the demonic sound clan who could be able to defeat him. If that day actually came, then Shi Yang could totally rely on his abilities to enslave the entire demonic sound clan. This was an extremely fearful thing. If he does not quickly progress, death will come even faster to demonic sound clan. It is not necessary to wait for him to reach the stage of which you are scared of. The demonic sound clan should have perished before that. Yu coldly harumphed, her eyes suddenly became furious. "Stupid little rascal, when we are talking, you better shut up." Yag was terrified, quickly silent, and bowed his head without daring to look at Yu. "What did you say?" The matriarch of White Wings clan was cheerful again, looked at Yi Tianmo, and said, "You can't also not understand the situation. Okay, I will open my soul secret source for him." Yi Tianmo hesitated a little. He was the first one to agree. Although in their hearts, Meng and Kaba didn't want to do it, but thinking about the strange change of the Sound Beast Mountain made them felt chilled to the bones, they reluctantly agreed, followed Yi Tianmo in giving a difficult decision, and nodded their heads. The expression of Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing were very shocked. These consecutive upheavals made them feel as lost as the mists around them. They did not know what it was that Shi Yang had done for them that made these two races voluntarily sacrificing their belongings, not only fulfilled in giving him whatever he had wanted but also offered him their most valuable treasures. In these pagan tribes' eyes, Shi Yang was even closer to them than that of their biological fathers. On the contrary, they were also from the outside but had become their prisoners. Although they had not been killed, they were to be offered to Shi Yang, and became tools for him to give vent, sexually, to do whatever it was that he pleased to his heart's content. Comparing between the two different conditions, Cao Zhilan felt so distressed that she had wanted to vomit out blood several times, and silently cursed that God was unfair. "That's it, this thing can be easily solved." Yu was deliberate. "So it is, the three of you arrange a house for this little rascal to stay. I will choose to include the secret scriptures be a part of your scripture sources. Of course, I will not see your secret scriptures, you will be with me while I select them. Is it okay?" Meng, Kaba, and Yi Tianmo did not want it at all, 1,000 times over, but they could not do anything else but to agree. "In the middle of the place where the three of us are staying, there is a house there, not far from us. Let's arrange for him to stay there." Yi Tianmo was thoughtful for a while, then nodded, talking to Yi Siyu Bai. "You bring matriarch Yu and Shi Yang to that house. Let's arrange for him first, then we will see to them later." "Yes." Father Yi Siyu Bai nodded her head with a confused face. Whatever she could imagine, she would have never expected that Shi Yang had not only not have been killed by Duo Long, but was also escorted back by Yu and Di Shan. Furthermore, Di Shan and Yu, the patriarch and matriarch of the Wings race, their behavior towards Shi Yang was unusual. They did not even regret the treasures that they gave to Shi Yang. What was it all about? Siyu Bai felt her head get heavier. She thought about the time when Shi Yang had timorously looked around in the forest, impossibly done anything, being controlled by her sole secret skill. But now, looking at all the treats, she did not know what was the best to say instantly. "Little girl, you lead the way." The matriarch of the White Wings clan coolly smiled, pointed to the three girls Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing. A long colored ribbon flew out of her sleeve, and tied up the three female prisoners. Yu Ru, on one hand, pulled the ribbon as if she was walking her pets, and brought these three female prisoners flying up to the sky. Her other hand held Shi Yang's arm. She was quick, but still deliberate, joking with Shi Yang in a low tone. "Little rascal, it is not that I am helping you, I am helping our two races. If you don't put effort, don't blame Di Shan and us for tearing off your skin. Aida, whatever, I have to thank you, haha, it was so unexpected of you that you could have earned such a big benefit. Haha, don't worry, I will be nice to you. Be nice to me. Little rascal, you really don't care about life or death. If you are not useful anymore now, I will instantly make you wish to die than to live. Don't be so serious. I know you treat me well, hihi, don't worry, because of you, I will try to break through soon, have stronger forces to control Heaven Flame, and help you break the shelters of Sound Beast Mountain. I hope you really have that kind of power, if not, no one can protect you." Not long after that, a mighty stone castle 50 meters high appeared in front of Shi Yang. Yi Siyu Bai was in front. After descending the castle, she waved towards Yu Ru. Yu Ru took Shi Yang and the three female prisoners along, and followed Yi Siyu Bai's signal to land on the highest floor of the castle. Yi Siyu Bai was standing in the middle of a big hall like the size of a basketball court, pointing to each of the tightly closed stone doors nearby, and introduced to Yu Ru and Shi Yang, "There are 9 rooms here, there are places for the toilet, 4. It's all right." Yu Ru swung her arm preventing Siyu Bai to continue, and threw the 3 female prisoners down, not caring about them falling down dizzily. "You, go back, I will prepare a little, then I will go see your father to check on the submission of the soul secrets, now go and tell your father in advance." Yes, Yi Siyu Bai did not dare to say more, nodded, and confusingly looked at Shi Yang, slightly sighed then quickly left. "Oh, little rascal, you are good. That girl seems to pay special attention to you. Did you also have something to do with Yi Tianmo's daughter already?" "Who?" Shi Yang pretended innocently. Hi Yu Ru slight smiled, and swayed her white jade-like hand. The colored ribbons that were wrapped around the 3 female prisoners sneaked back into her sleeve like a snake, flipped up her sleeve, and the matriarch of the White Wings clan indifferently said, "I know your sea of consciousness temporarily is not unusual, it is just really special." The 5 anomalous souls were not restless, always possibly causing any upheavals. "I leave these 3 female prisoners to you. If they are not enough, I will have a solution to find more. I will also go get the soul secret scriptures of the demonic Sound clan for you. I will get you everything that you need, you will not lack of anything. I only hope that you can increase your stage as soon as possible, we can't wait for so long. Is it possible that the Sound Beast Mountain will have an upheaval?" Shi Yang probingly asked. Slightly nodding, Yu Ru said, "I will not hide from you. Currently, the Sound Beast Mountain is very special indeed. It is highly possible for it to have a major change. Once that change occurs, our 2 races can perish. To be exact, once the Sound Beast Mountain has had an upheaval, this abandoned land will not exist. It will then mean that you will also hardly avoid the deaths that will exist as well." Shi Yang, surprised, ceased a while, inhaled a deep breath, then continued, "Finally, I know why Di Shan and the others were so generous. I want you to know that your stage progress is related not only to the safety of the 2 races but also of your safety. Therefore, because of your life, you should put more effort in doing it, otherwise, even if we had wanted for you to be alive, we do not have the ability to do so." Yu Ru seriously said. "I know." Shi Yang nodded his head. "Okay, I won't talk more. These 3 female prisoners cannot resist. While cultivating, if there is anything unusual, you can give vent to them at any time. You can even do it until they die, as long as you are okay with it, and if they do die, I can find other girls for you, you only need to break through quickly." Yu Ru looked straight to the 3 prisoners Cao Zhilan and the other 2, Her words were very cold-hearted. In her eyes, those three girls were merely tools. Faces of the three leader-to-be of the Endless Sea were gloomy after hearing of Yu Ru's words. Their charming bodies slightly trembled, but there was not any reactions. You ought to take care of yourself. Yu Ru flapped her wings, her body gently swayed, and slowly flew away. This place is very quiet, also very safe. You don't need to be worried at all, just focus on your cultivation. Yu Ru's voice slowly sent out, her figure had already been gone. In the huge hall, Shi Yang mused, thinking of something. 5 meters away, the three girls Cao Zilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing were anxious and insecure. Sitting on a stone surface, they could see the fear in each other's eyes. Time passed. Shi Yang still did not talk. Cao Zilan's beautiful face was toneless, silently looking at Shi Yang. After waiting for quite a long time, Shi Yang still did not have any intentions in talking. She impatiently cleared her throat. Being awake while meditating, Shi Yang frowned, and coldly looked at the three female prisoners, and said, "Your destinies are too bad. I know that you just luckily stepped on some dog shit." Jiyu Linglong clenched her teeth, and resentfully looked at him. "I can't believe you are such a rotter, not only in cooperating with the pagan tribes but also wanting to help those crazy pagan people get out of here. Do you know what you are doing? Making me angry is not a wise thing to do." Shi Yang smiled, his figure zoomed over landing in front of Jiyu Linglong, stretched his hand rubbing Jiyu Linglong's soft white chin with a lusty look, and said, "You know, I can always disgrace you here, no one here can say a word." Jiyu Linglong's face slightly changed, and suddenly threw a punch towards Shi Yang, but forgot that her energy had been lost. When her small punch dashed out, she had felt very painful. Very unruly. I hope that when I play with you, you are also crazy like this." Shi Yang coldly smiled, boldly squeezing Jiyu Linglong's soft breasts for a while. Small but very resilient, it indeed matches with your name Linglong." Jiyu Linglong could not stand the pain moving backwards, tears flooded in her eyes, and stared at Shi Yang resentfully. "I will kill you, I will definitely kill you. Maybe your family can still have a chance, but you definitely don't." Shi Yang's expression was cold-hearted, his figure quickly zoomed and appeared right behind Jiyu Linglong's back, his big hand slapped one of her round butt cheeks, and coolly said, "Butts are big, not bad, I will take good care of you." "Enough. Bully a girl who cannot even tie up a chicken, what kind of man are you?" Qi Yangqing's eyes were full of anger, she could not stand not shouting. "Oh!" Shi Yang burst into laughing. "At the beginning, nearly 100 guys had pursued us, hasn't it been courageous? Is it Chu Yangqing? Goddess of the Heaven Lake Divine Land? Do you remember in Monroe Island how you treated me and Xin Yang? At that time, in your eyes, we were nothing, like an ant that could be crushed to death." Chu Yangqing's eyes slightly changed. She obviously remembered what had happened in Monroe Island. At first, she had not known about the status of Shi Yang and Xia Xinyang. In order to get the secret of the Xian Bing Han Yang, she had put Shi Yang and Xia Xinyang to death, finally letting Shi Yang fall into an icy deep abyss that made the Ying family very angry. The Heaven Lake Divine Land had a great loss. Because of the wrong anticipation which had led to the great loss of the Heaven Lake Divine Land, many of the elders of the Heaven Lake Divine Land had been very disappointed with her, and had almost abolished her status of goddess, which made her resent Shi Yang to the bone. This time, the Ying family had had a great change. She had been the first one who had volunteered to join the battle in Vault C, with the same reason as Jiyu Linglong, to take revenge on Shi Yang. Just as life was unpredictable, many of the top-class warriors had entered the Abyss battlefield. Not only could they not kill Shi Yang but also had the same consequences as they were having right now. "So, you cannot say?" Shi Yang coldly smiled, he then leaped and quickly appeared in front of Chu Yangqing. Her scream just resounded when Shi Yang boldly stretched his arm to fondle her face several times, then pulled her thin mask like a mite jumping off of her face. Her eyebrows were high like a mountain, her face was a delicate picture, no makeup, but extremely charming. This was indeed an exquisitely beautiful girl, not inferior to Cao Zilan. Cao Zilan and Jiyu Linglong also seemed to see Chu Yangqing's real face for the first time. The moment that her face was revealed, her graceful body slightly trembled, and could not help but started screaming. Girls always tended to compare their appearances to each other no matter what. Jiyu Linglong and Cao Zhilan silently compared themselves to her. Cao Zhilan silently compared for a moment, slightly smiled, realized that in all aspects, Chu Yangqing was not inferior to her, and was quietly surprised. Jiyu Linglong seemed to be sad and fretful, her expression was not good, she knew she was inferior one level to her, and could not be happy. Shi Yang, astonished a little, stared at Chu Yangqing for a while, suddenly burst into laughter. It is quite obvious, Heaven Lake Divineland could not select an ugly girl to be goddess. Haha, such a beautiful body, that's even better. When I play with you, it will be less boring. Chu Yangying knew even if she resisted, it was useless. Under the lusty observance of Shi Yang's eyes, she coldly looked at him with furious eyes, and said, although the Ying's family's people are perverse and ambitious, they have no kind of hero who bullies feeble girls. Looks like you are an exception. That's right. Shi Yang laughed loudly, flirtingly soothed Chu Yangqing's chin. I think in the endless sea, there was no one who was able to see you, not mentioned to soothe you like this. I can't believe my destiny is very good here, in this damn place. My luckiness in love keeps coming, I can deliberately enjoy it. Shi Yang, can we discuss about this together? Cao Zhilan had been thoughtful for a while, suddenly spoke up. She was much calmer than Jiyu Linglong and Chu Yangqing. She was still composed, smiled, and said, in the current situation, you are respected, but still, are not treated differently from any of us. Shi Yang harumphed coldly, momentarily left Chu Yangqing, and frigidly looked at the female prisoner boasting, smiled and mocked her. Not differently? Why didn't I realize it? I know these pagan tribes, in order to win my heart, could they voluntarily devote the race's treasures to me? I know that these pagan people had brought you here for me to enjoy. And you, what do you have? You are just a tool for me to give vent. Besides that, I don't know what other values that you have. Shi Yang, you should practice a little charity, okay? Chu Yangqing coldly shouted, unbearably tired. If she still had some strength, she would have been the first one to tear off Shi Yang's mouth. Jiyu Linglong's charming body slightly shivered, also angrily clenched her teeth. But she had just suffered disadvantages, so she did not dare to provoke him again. Shi Yang was impudent and perverse, she had experienced it already. 2 sensitive places on her body had been violated, Jiyu Linglong's arrogance was torn off. She clearly understood her situation. In this damn place, when the body's strength was imprisoned, risking to provoke Shi Yang was just burning her fingers. Practice charity? Shi Yang's expression was weird. You also practice charity? You are just a courtesan, please stop pretending to be a goddess. The beautiful face of Chu Yangqing suddenly turned white like paper, her graceful body trembled, tightly clenched her teeth, she seemed to control in not risking her life with Shi Yang. Cao Zhilan miserably smiled. We are all nails in those pagan tribes' eyes. I know you, Shi Yang, to be a little different from us, so what? Currently, you are still useful. But when your advantages are no more, your outcome is perhaps even to be worse than ours. By that time, the way that the pagan tribes treat you will obviously be more brutal than the way they treat us. Shrugging his shoulders, he indifferently said, have you finished? Cao Zhilan was astonished, nodded helplessly. Regardless how my future is, at least I do not get any harm right now, and also leisurely enjoy everything of the pagan tribes, you are one of them. Shi Yang coldly smiled. Cao Zhilan, I know what you want to say. You want you and me to conjoin to save you guys, then we will deal with these pagan tribes, is it right? Cao Zhilan nodded. With you guys. Shi Yang didn't mind. Even though I saved you, you actually think you can help me? The demonic Sound Clan asked one person to easily capture you all and confine your souls, how could you still fight with them? Kaba, Ya Meng, although those people have weak bodies, their soul accomplishments have reached the god-possessed stage. They just need to activate their senses, and your souls will instantly explode. And you are so stupid to think that you can be of a benefit for me. The expressions of Jiyu Linglong and Chu Yangqing were like ashes. On the contrary, Cao Zhilan had no reaction, hesitated a little bit, then said, you said it right. We actually don't have a solution in resisting these pagan tribes. But if you can recover our strengths, and give me one night to prepare, I can contact the cow family. I just need to send out the information. I think our families will have a solution. Contact with the outside? Shi Yang, a little bit agitated. That's right. I just need to have enough time to prepare, so that I can actually make contact with cow family. Cao Zhilan assured, and said, once I send out the information here, with the intelligence of our top-class warriors in the Endless Sea, we can quickly know of these pagan tribes' origin, and find of a way to deal with them. Shi Yang nodded, rubbed his chin, and coolly said, your ways are not bad, but so sorry, I don't accept it. Not only that, I will also watch you out carefully, to prevent you from contacting with the outside. Upon his words, the beautiful faces of Jiyu Linglong and Chu Yangqing changed, both resentfully looked at Shi Yang. Shi Yang Cao Zhilan insisted. I am begging you to think about it. The demonic Sound Clan have the gifted advantage to deal with us. Their particular souls can help them destroy us easily. There are also the 3 patriarchs of the Wings race, each of them have wicked intentions with extraordinary power. Once they enter the Endless Sea, it is an accident for all the warriors of the Endless Sea. Because of it, there will be the deaths of many ordinary people. Even though you don't like us, you should see the big picture. The issues regarding your life and death does not matter to me. Shi Yang's expression was indifferent. I know all of you will not forgive the Ying family, and surely will not forgive me. I am not that great man, damn you, don't manipulate me. You finally, Jiyu Linglong could not stand it anymore. Do you still have a good sense or not? You know how much loss when these 2 races entering Endless Sea will cause. How many people will die because of your decisions? What? Shi Yang coldly smiled. You cooperated with the people of the 4th Devil Valley, was it of good sense? Because of you, the 4th Devil Valley and the Netherworld could massively invade the Endless Sea. Perhaps, people in the Endless Sea now, have already been in misery. Adding these 2 pagan tribes will be nothing, or these 2 pagan tribes can perhaps control the 4th Devil Valley and Netherworld. What? Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing simultaneously shouted with astonished faces, and screamed. The 4th Devil Valley and the Netherworld have possibly conjoined, Ghost Man and Devil Man have united. First, they killed all of the Ying family, destroyed the defenses where the Heaven Gate linked with the Devil Valley. Not long after that, Ghost Man and Devil Man entered the Endless Sea together. As of now, the Endless Sea perhaps belongs to Ghost Man and Devil Man already. Even if you send out information, it is fucking useless. Shi Yang coolly smiled while speaking. The 3 girls bewildered, their eyes were full of confusion, they felt cold and hopeless for the first time. Chieftain, Tribal Chief. Chapter 254, Unexpected Cake from Heaven. In the immense stone hall. Shi Yang's face was serious, he composedly sat in the middle of the stone hall. His bright eyes stared at the jade bottle and at the 2 jade boxes in front of him without blinking. 7 antiquated dark yellow scripture books laid in a line behind the jade boxes. Yu Ru and Di Shan kept silent, standing in front of Shi Yang, one on his left, while the other one on his right. Ya Meng, Kaba, and Yi Tian Mo miserably glared at the 7 dark yellow scripture books. It seemed that they had wanted to say something but couldn't. They obviously regretted this decision and did not want to hand over these demonic Sound Clan's books. But, they had no other choices. In a big chamber inside the stone hall, Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Chu Yangqing were feeling worried and insecure with a gloomy look on their faces while observing the scene happening in the stone hall. The white jade spirit fruit can be taken directly. After consuming it, meditate instantly and attentively absorb the soul-refining power of the spirit fruit. This method is very simple. You just need to carry the internal powers to the brain. The energy inside of the spirit fruit will unblock the nerves and veins in your brain, making your soul extremely sensitive, as well as helping you meditate well. If you are able to absorb all of the powers of a white jade spirit fruit into your brain, it will be very useful for your cultivation as well as the reinforcement of your mental state and soul purification. It makes the powers of your soul very sensitive, and increases the coverage range and intensity of your mental state. Yu Ru's expression was serious. With her gentle voice, She slowly explained to Shi Yang the consumption method and the efficacy of the white jade spirit fruit. The blackhead lotus is even simpler. A slice of the blackhead lotus can be compressed into plenty of juice. You just need to apply that juice all over your body and let your pores absorb the juice of the blackhead lotus, which will get into your body and gradually form a lotus tattoo on your chest. This lotus tattoo can enhance the speed of heaven and earth spiritual energy, refining 5 times during the 5 years. As long as the black lotus tattoo does not disappear, once you cultivate, the heaven and earth spiritual energy will gather within 5 times faster, flowing in that black lotus tattoo. Through this black lotus tattoo, you can refine, transform, then slowly pour your profound chi in to help increase your cultivation speed. Di Shan squinted while his black wings retracted. He clenched his lips, seemed to be a little heartrending as well. Heaven Fountain concentrated water is the treasure of grey-white wings. The usage is also simple. If you are injured or your profound chi has had a great loss, you just need to drink 1 drop of the Heaven Fountain concentrated water. It will supplement your profound chi for you in a blink of an eye, and also cure your wounds very fast. You temporarily do not need it now. Wait until you break the shelters. If your energy is consumed too much, you can use the Heaven Fountain concentrated water to recover it. It will increase your powers. Yu smiled and continued. Di Shan has put a lot of effort to convince Duo Long to give you 1 bottle of the Heaven Fountain concentrated water. He nearly fought with Duo Long. Thus, do not disappoint us. Shi Yang sat meditatively like a stone. His expression was calm and serious. Don't worry. If I have these 3 things from you and yet could not break the shelters, you can do anything with me as you wish. Di Shan nodded, then looked at Kaba, Ya Meng, and Tian Mo neglectfully asked. How about you? Kaba got startled and pointed at the scripture books on the ground, said miserably, all of the scriptures are placed over there. You think he can understand them? Those are ancient books. If you don't give him any guidance, do you think that he can still understand them? Kaba scratched his head, not knowing how to answer. But he then finally said, okay, I will show him. No Ya Meng and Tian Mo spoke up simultaneously. All of the 7 scripture books did not belong to Kaba alone. 5 of them were preserved by Ya Meng and Tian Mo, which could not be spread out to others. If Kaba knew the contents of the 5 secretive scriptures, he possibly could have captured their secret spirits in his hand. Shi Yang revealed a wicked smile. Although he was under a tight watch of the top-class warriors of the 2 races, he still deliberately walked to the scripture books and picked one of them up. He glanced at it and said, no need to bother you. I can understand these ancient scriptures. The 5 leaders' expressions slightly changed. Astonishment exposed on their faces. Shi Yang, what did you say? Yu shook her head with doubt, and said, don't bluster. This is not the time to boast. These scriptures were from our ancestors. It should be tens of thousands of years ago. How could you have known about them? 7 manipulation gods. Shi Yang pointed at the scripture book in his hand, looking towards Kaba and asked, am I pronouncing the title correctly? Kaba's eyes lit up, his face was very strange, but he still gently nodded his head, that's correct. These are the 3 words, 7 manipulation gods. I did not expect that you would know it. By this time, the eyes of 5 leaders of the pagan tribes expressed an astonishment and suspicions at the same time. They did not know how he could have read these ancient scriptures. All right. Everything has been brought here. I can now start my cultivation. Shi Yang leisurely stretched his hands, touching the treasures and ancient scripture books in front of him. The blood vein ring in his finger flared up several times. Those things then disappeared one by one into the ring. If there is nothing important, please don't disturb me. Shi Yang raised his head, looking at the 5 leaders. Okay. You focus on your cultivation. I will be around to watch out. Call me if you need anything. The matriarch of White Wings clan revealed a beautiful smile. After thinking a while, her pretty eyes glanced at the 3 people of Kaoji Lan who stayed in the distance, and said, if those 3 girls are not enough, I will arrange more. You can set your mind to rest about this fact. Duo Long has captured a human girl named He Ching Man. I have bargained with Duo Long. He will bring that girl here as well in a moment. It seemed that an idea just suddenly popped up in Di Shan's mind. He said, that girl is quite beautiful too. She will be also handed to you to stabilize your emotions. So, you don't need to worry about girls. He Ching Man. Shi Yang's face slightly changed. His eyes kept moving before speaking. The girl that I exactly need should be a virgin. Virgins have the most efficiency. If not, the results will be a lot less. What? Di Shan startled for a while before talking to Yu Ru. We perhaps have to put more pressure on Duo Long. I think Duo Long will also sacrifice that small thing for the bigger thing. Yu Ru looked at Shi Yang while revealing faint smile. After mumbling to herself, she reluctantly nodded her head and said, so, we will go to discuss much more with Duo Long. Sorry for having to bother you this time. Shi Yang's face was excited and seriously said, only human girls are suitable for me. I am not sure if the girls of your two races can be suitable or not. That's why I hope the girl whose name is He Ching Man will be sent here unharmed. With 4 girls at hand, I think that I will not have any problems. Damn you, little rascal. Yu Ru shook her head, said helplessly, all right, because of our 2 races, we will bring that girl here intact, as you wish. Cough, cough. That's good. Shi Yang's face remained unchanged. Then, he hurriedly said with an impatient expression, now, I need to cultivate. If there is nothing else to say, please. Let's go. Di Shan leaped up, the pair of black wings on his back flapped gently. His figure then gradually faded and disappeared completely out of sight. Kaba, Ya Meng, and Yi Tianmo stared at Shi Yang before leaving without saying anything else. Yu Ru was the last one to leave. She waited until the 4 of them had totally disappeared, before speaking to Shi Yang, little rascal, you take care of this by your own. If you cannot help our 2 races break the shelters, no one can save you. Thank you, Shi Yang sincerely said while looking straight into Yu Ru's eyes. No need to say thank you. I only think for the welfare of the 2 races. Yu Ru mused for a while. Her beautiful eyes blinked and her mouth revealed a secret smile. After speaking, she slowly turned around, flying away. Eventually, there was only Shi Yang alone in the stone hall. He sat motionlessly, started to meditate. After the 3 people of Cao Lan and the other 2 had watched him in silence for a while, they quietly walked out of the stone chamber but still keep a safe distance with Shi Yang. They looked at him with a confusing expression as if they had wanted to say something but could not find any topics to talk about. The 3 of you should be obedient. This place is not the outside world. You were something in the outside world, but you are nothing here. Shi Yang turned his back around and said in a low tone, do not disturb me, be obedient over there. Female slaves should behave as female slaves. Female slaves? Jiyu Ling Long's complexion suddenly changed. Her look was chilled to the bone, she fiercely stared at Shi Yang's back. Her big breasts heaved non-stop. What did you say? Jiyu Ling Lung secretly clenched her teeth. She was like a small tigress showing her fangs and claws, being so angry as she could not jump over to Shi Yang to tear him into pieces. As I have said, the 3 of you are only slaves. I can play with you whenever I want. Shi Yang turned his head around, coldly glancing at the 3 of them with a mocking face. If you are not well behaved, I would not mind teaching you a bit about your manners. You. Jiyu Ling Long's and Chu Yang Qing's charming faces turned pale instantly. They were so angry that their bodies trembled, they looked as if they were ready to risk their lives to kill Shi Yang. Only Cao Lan was not angry, but she felt a little dreary within her own heart. She released a long sigh, then walked towards Jiyu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing to comfort them, and said helplessly, we cannot do anything when facing with this emotionless rascal. Don't hurt yourselves. Jiyu Ling Lung and Chu Yang Qing clenched their teeth but did not dare to storm in there and fight with him. They knew that it was not good to irritate Shi Yang at this moment. In the past few days, whenever Shi Yang had gotten irritated by them, all the sensitive places on their bodies had been violated by him. During the time when Shi Yang had been waiting for the 2 pagan tribes to bring their treasures, he closed his eyes meditating. It was like he was reviewing all the secrets in his cultivation. The three girls could not do anything except insulting him with their words and curses, and the results were always woeful. It always ended up with their bodies being violated. Except Cao Ji-lan, who was the most obedient since the beginning, had not been violated as of yet. All the sensitive places on Jiyu Linglong and Chu Yangqing's bodies had been touched by Shi Yang. The two girls were so embarrassed. However, whenever they thought about committing suicide, they got a terrible splitting headache and did not have any abilities to do it. Having been violated for many, many times, the two girls were gradually getting more obedient. They did not dare to irritate Shi Yang too much. They immediately stopped if they saw that Shi Yang had started to get angry. I am almost done cultivating. Lower your voices. Do not disturb me. Shi Yang stood up, indifferently glanced at the three frightened girls. After that, he entered a huge stone chamber on the right side of the stone hall. After closing the door, he closed his eyes and began meditating. Hello guys, I will be off tomorrow, so no chat for tomorrow. See you all again on Wednesday. Thank you. Chapter 255 Soul Perception. Shi Yang's eyes were closed tightly, his breathing was normal. Flows of negative energy started to spread out one by one on his body. In the secret chamber, Shi Yang was meditating, gradually entering a marvelous realm, almost forgetting himself. From his appearance, his body did not have any special transformations yet. But if there was a person who had a mighty sea of consciousness here, he would have recognized that the fluctuating spirit inside of Shi Yang's mind was extremely confusing and complicated. 5 flows of spiritual energies clustered inside his sea of consciousness. These flows were full of emotions of despair, fear, bloodshed, greed, and resentment, which were condensing little by little as if they had kept absorbing the negative feelings within his body. As many negative feelings gathered, the 5 devils in his sea of consciousness, which were created by the gathering of the 5 emotions types of despair, fear, bloodshed, greed, and resentment, all had a fierce manner as if they had wanted to get out of the sea of consciousness and intrude into Shi Yang's brain, plundering his spirit. When conducting the negative feelings, he did not dare to relax his mind. He still kept his spirit stabilizing to take control. This cultivation of the 5 devils in the sea of mind came from the blood vein ring. It was like a miraculous spell which had been customized for his body and combined with his mystery martial spirit perfectly. It was the same with breaking through the 3rd sky of the rampage. The cultivating method of the 5 devils in the sea of mind also needed the mystery martial spirit. This cultivation happened through the gathering of the negative feelings inside of his meridians. These negative feelings could have normally pushed him into a critical situation where he could not have had controlled the 5 devils. Even when they were still under the control of the sea of consciousness, they had already made Shi Yang scared out of his wits. Once the 5 devils could be free from the control of the sea of consciousness, they would then totally dominate Shi Yang's consciousness. Shi Yang had already known about this when he had cultivated the 5 devils in the sea of mind. Before finishing cultivating this marvelous martial technique, the devil's backfire could happen at any given time. This was actually the devil's experiment with Shi Yang. If he could not break the devil's mind, he would probably get the consequences for himself once the devils began to form. He clearly understood that cultivating the 5 devils in the sea of mind was much more dangerous than that of the breaking through the 3rd sky of the rampage. However, once he cultivated this successfully, he would obviously have tremendous intimidations like breaking through the 3rd sky of the rampage. Therefore, even though he knew that cultivating this martial technique was very dangerous, he hadn't hesitated before. Once he got the method of cultivating the 5 devils in the sea of mind down, he immediately began the cultivation. He liked the challenges of the martial techniques which were difficult to cultivate. All types of the negative feelings gathering in the sea of consciousness had turned into nutritious sources for the 5 devils. Shi Yang congregated the soul consciousness with the intention of penetrating the 5 devils' bodies in order to affect them and then build a harmonious relationship with them. However, after those 5 devils had received a lot of negative feelings, they gradually obtained consciousness. Because the devils had Shi Yang's spiritual seal, they could be also considered as having his intelligence. They seemed to know of his intentions. Once his consciousness came close to them, they promptly boycotted it. After many attempts, Shi Yang could only control a little bit of his mind's area. His mind would not be affected when the negative feelings filled his sea of consciousness. However, he had failed to penetrate the 5 devils with his spiritual consciousness to create a connection with them, which had actually helped him control them. A very long time later, Shi Yang gradually opened his eyes and contemplated for a while. After that, he took the 7 soul scripture books of the demonic sound clan in silence and started to read them one by one. The 7 ancient soul scripture books did not note the cultivating methods of the martial techniques in detail. Instead, they were about the research of all the miraculous soul transformations, mentioning the features and different methods of soul cultivations in a very detailed and clear way. Only after reading them for a short time, did Shi Yang's eyes brighten up, his face revealed an excitement. These 7 ancient soul scripture books contained all kinds of profound perceptions about the soul's marvelousness. The soul apprehension of the demonic sound clan had indeed far surpassed the other tribes. It seemed that Yu Ru actually knew which ancient scriptures would be the most useful for him now. These 7 ancient scripture books, with no exception, all mentioned Upanishads that were related to the soul. It was as if Shi Yang had just gotten a treasure. He did not hurry to control the 5 devils in the sea of mind. Instead, he spent all of his time in reading the 7 ancient scripture books of the demonic sound clan. He did not know that the 7 ancient soul scripture books were the essence of the demonic sound clan's Upanishads of the soul. The demonic sound clan's soul secret skills had been totally based on these 7 ancient scripture books. Understanding them would allow him to master all kinds of soul secret skills of the demonic sound clan. He conducted his host soul into deep inside of the spirit and the sea of consciousness, used the sea of consciousness to nourish the host soul, gradually formed the God soul. Once the God soul was formed, it would then break the tie of the spirit and reach the level of terrific power. An ancient scripture book related to Upanishads of the host soul attracted Shi Yang's attention. He researched it so deeply that he even forgot about the time and the binding in the cultivation. He now only used his mind to perceive everything that was related to the host soul. According to this ancient scripture, everyone had a host soul. The host soul was the core of spirit. An ordinary person could not sense the existence of a host soul, nor had no way to control it or take its forces. For warriors who cultivated martial arts, if they purified themselves and refined their blood to break through their minds, their spirits would slowly intensify. One day, they would finally be able to sense the host soul of the spirit's core. Once a warrior broke through the nirvana realm to form the sea of consciousness, if they could conduct the host soul into the sea of consciousness, the sea of consciousness and the host soul would support each other and develop together. When the host soul entered the sea of consciousness, it was nourished by the sea of consciousness. Once the nirvana realm improved, the transformation would also occur. One day, if the warriors had entered the God realm, their host souls would then evolve to a higher level, transforming to the God soul in the sea of consciousness. Once the God soul was formed, it meant that the warriors officially became a supreme God realm master. The God soul and the sea of consciousness supporting one another could then develop unimaginable spiritual forces. Shi Yang worked hard to understand and carefully remembered all the ancient scripture books. He gradually gained a special perception of the demonic sound clan's soul apprehension. If the host soul was conducted into the sea of consciousness and nourished by the sea of consciousness, could the host soul have then been able to control the 5 devils? In a moment, a bright idea popped up in Shi Yang's mind. He suddenly felt that this thing could be done. After this thought appeared in his head, he could not restrain himself. He was impatient in finding the host soul that was hiding deep inside of his spirit, conducting the host soul into the sea of consciousness. White jade spirit fruit. Shi Yang's expression completely changed, he suddenly revealed a smile. According to Yu Ru, this white jade spirit fruit could feed the spirit up, thus the host soul would be also able to benefit from this peculiar fruit. Once taking the white jade spirit fruit, the strange powers of the fruit would scatter and pour into the spirit, so that both the spirit and the host soul would receive more power. If it happened that way, after taking the white jade spirit fruit and contemplating to sense the white jade spirit fruit's power running inside, was it then easy to find the host soul? Shi Yang's eyes brightened up. After slightly fondling the blood vein ring, a light flared up, and the jade box immediately appeared. As soon as the jade box was opened, a passionate fragrance flew out. The white jade spirit fruit inside of the box was fulgent. With the first glance, it looked like a marvelous crunch of jade with sparkling lights inside. It seemed to have some strange powers hidden inside of the white jade spirit fruit. Shi Yang squinted, carefully taking a good look at the white jade spirit fruit. He noticed that there were numerous silk lines twisting together like the nerve system of the brain, which was extremely miraculous. Smelling the fragrance from the white jade spirit fruit had already agitated Shi Yang's spirit. He felt as if his spirit had shot out from the mundaneness, it seemed to be purified by some exotic thing. Shi Yang was bewildered for a moment. He did not dare to think too much, and hastily put the white jade spirit fruit into his mouth and swallowed it. Then, he quickly urged the profound qi to digest the white jade spirit fruit. Boom! Inside of his body, there appeared a flame suddenly which came from the heart within his chest. As soon as the white jade spirit fruit ran down to his stomach, the flame instantly enclosed the white jade spirit fruit. The fulgent white jade spirit fruit like a chunk of jade inside of Shi Yang's belly suddenly burned up. Streams of power, one by one, rose up hovering around like a mist of smog. They gradually gathered running into Shi Yang's brain. Shi Yang immediately had the same strange feelings as he had absorbed the power of the white jade spirit fruit, only the feelings this time were stronger. As he had taken in the soul of the white jade spirit fruit, there were plenty of soul power scattering in all directions. As soon as the soul power poured into his brain, it abruptly flushed over his brain. However, the peculiar force of the white jade spirit fruit was quite special. This strange force seemed to have its own purpose. They gradually approached Shi Yang's brain, but only gathered into a special corner of his brain. His forehead. A dazzling marvelous ivory-white light suddenly shot out from the middle of his eyebrows. Shi Yang's forehead vibrated tremendously, radiating a dazzling light which gradually covered his entire brain. His brain started to emit bright halos one by one. He now looked like a saint, very mysterious and anomalous. Found it. Shi Yang was extremely happy. His spirit was constantly taking in the peculiar force of the white jade spirit fruit which then gathered in a mysterious area in the middle of his forehead. In that mysterious area, he could see another him and witnessed a glaring scene. In the mysterious area, his another him was sitting cross-legged with tightly closed eyes. God light flared up in between of his eyebrows. It was exactly like himself. In that area with the 7 colored lights, an elf was sitting cross-legged, the corners of his mouth revealed a beam of excitement. There was a white god light hovering over his head. A dazzling light flared up in between the eyebrows. As Shi Yang's spirit came here, that elf seemed to feel something, opening his eyes all in sudden. Those eyes were like a bottomless lake which reflected the images of Shi Yang's living memories. All milestones in Shi Yang's life emerged in those eyes. As his spirit arrived here, it seemed to be attracted, abruptly went inside of those eyes, turned into a period of his soul memory. Bang! It was as if there had been an explosion inside of Shi Yang's head. His soul consciousness was horribly shaken, his sea of consciousness was also extremely insecure. However, the elf from that mysterious area gradually got out of that place, being conducted by the soul light into the sea of consciousness. Everything ceased suddenly. Chapter 256 Raving Waves. As soon as the host soul entered the sea of consciousness, the 5 devils in the sea of consciousness calmed down suddenly, did not dare to be rebellious. The host soul and the sea of consciousness were connected to each other. Each stream of the soul consciousness in the sea of consciousness stuck tightly to the host soul. At this moment, the host soul and Shi Yang's soul consciousness formed a marvelous connection. Soul consciousness then turned into beams of miraculous lights which were not easy to be seen by ordinary eyes. They then abruptly went into Shi Yang's eyes. As his eyes opened, they seemed to receive lightning. Each stream of the lightning was thin and delicate, moving into his eyes. After walking out to the big stone hall from the stone chamber, Shi Yang looked out at a distance and suddenly realized that his vision range had been tens of times greater than that of before. Everything within the range of more than 10 miles became very clear in his eyes. He could even see the wrinkles on the faces of demonic Sound clanspeople with minute detail. His soul consciousness covered the entire area. Lives that were fluctuating in this area were signaled and transmitted to him. Even a worm under the ground could not avoid his soul consciousness's examination. At this time, Shi Yang had a wonderful feeling as if he had turned into a god. Small things nor tiny weak lives, everywhere, could not escape from his eyes and his soul consciousness. Everything seemed to be under his control. The host soul entering the sea of consciousness had unexpectedly brought him such a marvelous feeling. These kinds of feelings made him crazily happy, his heart was even moved. In the sea of consciousness, the host soul and the soul consciousness were bound to each other. The host soul seemed to turn into another brain, while streams of the soul consciousness connecting with the host soul seemed to turn into nerves, bringing him new perceptions. With the host soul staying in the sea of consciousness, the 5 devils had also calmed down. After perceiving carefully, Shi Yang discovered that the soul consciousness connecting with the host soul had also wrapped around the 5 devils. After entering the sea of consciousness, the host soul continuously emitted fluctuating lives one by one, transmitted to the 5 devils through the soul consciousness. Under the effect of those fluctuating lives, the 5 devils suddenly became peaceful. They seemed to know that they were not able to dominate the host soul, thus they stopped being rebellious. As he sent out his thoughts, the host soul delivered his thoughts to the 5 devils. The 5 devils immediately immersed themselves into the sea of consciousness. The soul seal inside of the 5 devils which belonged to him seemed to have been effective. It had started to slowly tie up the 5 devils, which prevented them from emitting negative feelings. The lightning in Shi Yang's eyes faded, his face regained the previous serious expressions. He stood in the middle of the stone hall thinking about something. After a long time, he sat down in the middle of the stone hall. Without worrying about being disturbed, he soothed the blood vein ring and took the blackhead lotus out. As he opened the jade box, big black halos suddenly scattered from the petals of the blackhead lotus. These petals were of an inky black color with black halos flaring up from the inside which brought people a miraculous and anomalous feeling. Without hesitation, he stretched out his hand grabbing the petals, then put it right on his chest. The profound chi from his fingers concentrated and then radiated a beam of light into the petals. The shining black liquid abruptly flew out from the petals, absorbing into his body through the pores of his skin from his chest. A warm and wonderful feeling scattered all over his body. It seemed that there were thousands of worms that were gnawing on his chest. In a short moment, Shi Yang felt itchy, painful, and uncomfortable. The liquid of the blackhead lotus diffused, quietly amended his flesh, which led to the transformations of every single molecular cell within his body. A black drawing which was as big as a fist gradually formed on his chest while he was still enjoying this marvelous feeling of perception. Shi Yang was astonished and dazedly watched the transformations on his chest. He wondered if the liquid of the blackhead lotus was that miraculous or not. The originally faint black drawing gradually became clearer. Not long afterward, each of the petals appeared on his chest. Shining black petals had blossomed, little by little until a black lotus was formed. It looked highly exotic at the first glance. After the black lotus had been formed, a fresh surge of energy immediately ran out from the middle of the lotus bloom. After taking a deep breath, Shi Yang sat straight, closing his eyes and meditating. Profound chi in his body slowly moved, carried on the circulation in his vessels. Right at the time that the refining process had just started, the surrounding heaven and earth's energy was unusually lively all of a sudden. The gathering speed was many times faster. The profound chi was massively pouring into the black lotus that was on his chest. It was miraculous indeed. Shi Yang was very happy, quickly closed his eyes, putting all his efforts in gathering heaven and earth's energy without any distractions. He used his spirit energy to refine as much of the profound chi as possible and enhanced the intensity of the profound chi within his body. Time had quickly passed. It had been 10 days in the blink of an eye. Squeak. The door of the next stone chamber was pushed open. 3 stealthy and delicate figures quietly walked out of the stone chamber, standing 10 meters away from Shi Yang, watching him cultivating in the middle of the stone hall in silence. Lan Jie Jiu Ling Long frowned, looking at Cao Ji Lan implicatively with cold lights flaring up in her eyes. Chu Yang Qing's exquisite face was icy cold, her eyes kept moving as if she had wanted to do something but still hesitated. Cao Ji Lan knitted her eyebrows. While Jiu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing were staring at her, she shook her head implicating that they should not do anything rash. In the stone hall, Shi Yang closed his eyes meditating. His body was gathering a big amount of heaven and earth's energy while he was topless. An anomalous black lotus emitted a black halo, which was like a fierce big mouth biting and swallowing heaven and earth's energy that was surrounding it before transferring them to Shi Yang. Shi Yang was motionless, completely oblivious of himself. It seemed as if he did not know that the 3 female prisoners were staring at him, from not that far away. It was unknown of how much time had passed. Shi Yang's body quietly projected faint silver lights which were originally very gloomy, but then became brighter due to more and more of heaven and earth's energy pouring in. The world's energy was dense like a cloud of smoke hovering beside Shi Yang without dispersing. The silver lights from Shi Yang's body gradually dispersed out as if it would have led to the mutation of heaven and earth's energy. The mutation had made heaven and earth's energy commence in being chaotic and continuously revolved around him, forming small streams of lights. Those lights were approaching closely to his body as if they had wanted to go through into his body. Lan Jie, this is. He is about to enter the second sky of the earth realm. What? How come is it so fast? When he entered the chasm battlefield, he had only been at the disaster realm. The leaders of the 2 tribes had given him their treasures. He has absorbed the energy of these treasures, together with his outstanding innate abilities. Being able to break through this fast is within reason. Lam Jie, this is the most critical moment. Mai thinks that he surely does not have any protection. If we can. No, we should not make a mess. Even if we do manage to kill him, what is next? This place is full of demonic Sound Clan's people. Before even being able to get out of here, the results might be even more tragic. But we may never know. One day, his animal-like characteristics might break out, he would possibly then violate us savagely. What will we do by that time? Oh, at least we will still survive. Being violated by the same kind is better than being violated by the pagans. Didn't you see YAG's intentions? If we had fallen into YAG's hands or the Wings race's hands, the outcome should have been much worse than now. Everyone contemplated for a while. After a short discussion, the 3 female prisoners were quiet again, stayed at the side watching Shi Yang without any actions. Far ahead, the stone castle, on the top of a very high arch, Yu Ru, the matriarch of White Wings clan, was lying down on a bamboo swing leisurely, swaying her long thin legs. However, her mesmerizing eyes was looking towards the stone castle in the distance, quietly paying attention to any commotions inside of the stone castle. Besides Yu Ru, Di Shan, the patriarch of Black Wings clan, was like a dominating stone statue with his cold yet attractive appearance. He stood motionlessly without saying a word. Behind Di Shan's back, He Qing Man's expression was confused. She looked towards the stone castle in the distance with her wide-open eyes, and vaguely saw Shi Yang's figure in there. In the last half-month, even with the help of the white jade spirit fruit and the black-head lotus, this little rascal's innate ability is not bad, as he is able to enter the second sky from the first sky of the earth realm. After a very long time, Di Shan suddenly exclaimed, "It is regretful that he is humankind. If he were of our Wings races, we would have fostered and trained him." While speaking, Di Shan swung his arm. A black cage appeared confining He Qing Man in the blink of an eye, which prevented her from listening or seeing anything. Di Shan, I had promised that little rascal that after he finishes the job, we will spare his life. The swing of Yu Ru gradually stopped swaying. She frowned while looking at Di Shan, then coldly said, "As the patriarch and matriarch of our tribes, we need to keep our words. What do you think? I will try my best to protect him." Di Shan contemplated for a while before speaking. "But if demonic Sound Clan and Duo Long unite to kill him, I will not risk my life for him." Yu Ru's expression slightly changed. She shouted, "They dare do it." Di Shan smiled miserably, and slowly nodded his head, This little rascal is really outstanding, that's why Demonic Sound Clan wants him dead. However, to help him improve faster, Yu has asked for the other 3 guys to give him their ancient scriptures. As he now can understand the Upanishads, if he does not die, his spirit accomplishment will be extremely tremendous. That should be a catastrophe for Demonic Sound Clan. If I were a person of Demonic Sound Clan, I would also have not let him live, I would have killed him at all costs. Yu Ru was bewildered, then slowly nodded after a while. She said with a complicated face, "So, my way has pushed him to the everlasting perdition. Anyway, he is just a little human rascal. No need to be that worried. We have sacrificed that much to break the shelters. Don't mind too much about his life or death." Di Shan coldly said. Di Shan Yu Ru suddenly called out to him loudly. After hesitating for a while, she raised her head looking at the patriarch of Blackwing's clan and said, "If that little rascal was the descendant of the 3 god kings, will you follow our ancestors' guidance and spare his life?" "What?" Di Shan's face suddenly changed. "The blood of the immortal god king is running in his body. This is destiny. Moreover, he came here with the heaven flame. Everything is needed as conditions in helping us get out of this abandoned place. Tell me, is it because that the ancestors have sworn of the breaking of the shelters which has been transmitted to the god king that we are now encountering this current situation?" Yu Ru's eyes flashed with god lights, her face was serious, looking straight at Di Shan. "Immortal god king?" Di Shan took a deep breath, he was obviously in shock. After a while, he said in a low tone, "Haven't you been mistaken? I have checked carefully. He is absolutely the descendant of the immortal god king." Yu Ru nodded her head. "I know that Duo Long does not respect the ancestors' guidance. These things are meaningless to him. I want to hear it from you directly. If we follow the ancestors' guidance, we have to serve him as our master." This thing, Di Shan smiled miserably and hesitated a while before continuing, "We will see. If this little rascal shows some potential which can make me admire him, I will reconsider. But if he cannot, I will not have any mercy. Ahem, Di Shan has to serve him as a master, I would rather go against the ancestors' guidance than do it. Jia, Chinese way to call an older sister. My, Chinese way to call a younger sister." Chapter 257, The Younger Generation Who Surpassed the Older. Shi Yang glowered, a sparkling light appeared in his eyes. The shiny silver light around his body gradually retracted until it left no trace. "Congratulations." Cao Lan moved forward one step with an honest face. "Although you have some help from the anomalous treasures, being able to break through the second sky of the Earth realm is really exceptional. If you go back to the Kiara Sea, you can definitely rank on the top 5 of the power rankings." The beautiful faces of Jiyu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing slightly changed, showing their suspicions. "The top 5 of the power rankings?" Shi Yang guffawed, shaking his head and said, "I don't care about those rankings. I am not interested in it. Only top-level warriors with wicked intentions like you care about the power rankings. You look down on us." Jiyu Ling Long angrily said. "That's right." Shi Yang did not refuse it and seriously nodded his head. "When I was still in the disaster realm without any help from the beasts, I could have already sustained one full power strike of yours. You are also of the power rankings but still cannot defeat even one warrior at the disaster realm. So, you tell me, are the power rankings meaningful?" Jiyu Ling Long got irritated while glaring at Shi Yang. She said with anger, "You think everyone is a monster like you? Shi Yang, you are not the same as an ordinary warrior. You could enhance your strength several times more in just a blink of an eye. Even the top-level warriors in the power rankings can never possess these kinds of powers. You shouldn't be compared to the common warriors." Cao Lan smiled deliberately as if she and Shi Yang were friends. Cao Lan had still wanted to cool down the relationship with Shi Yang. During this time, regardless of what she said or did, she should just simply follow and comply with Shi Yang. Her purpose was simple. She hoped that Shi Yang would have some sympathy for them and did not see them as his enemies. "I don't need you to remind me." Shi Yang frowned, gradually stood up and stared at Jiyu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing. He suddenly said, "If you still have wicked intentions, don't blame me for violating you before my cultivation have any troubles. Ahum, you dared to have the intentions of killing me while I was cultivating. You are such stupid girls. Learn more from Cao Lan. You should better understand your current situation." The expressions of Jiu Linglong and Chu Yangqing slightly changed, but they did not dare to say anything anymore. They only felt strange how Shi Yang had been able to have heard their conversations while he had been in the critical point of his breakthrough. They obviously did not know that after Shi Yang's host soul had entered the sea of consciousness, the sense powers of his god consciousness had reached an unimaginable level. Even in the bitter cultivating state, commotions around could not have escaped from his senses. At that time, he had not entered the stone chamber for his cultivation. Instead, he had chosen to cultivate in the middle of the stone hall in order to take precautions against unexpected incidents. Swoosh swoosh. The sound of wings flapping came up from a distance. Not long after that, Yu Ru and Di Shan simultaneously landed. Yu Ru was holding He Qing Man, who was cheerfully surprised. Bump. After throwing He Qing Man on the floor, without glancing at Cao Zilan and the other two girls, Yu Ru turned her head around to look at Shi Yang and said, "This girl's body is still pure. I brought her here specifically for you to do as you please with her." "Ah, how much more time will it take? We don't have much time left. We should go to the Sound Beast Mountain soon. Give me some more time. I need to reinforce the realm." Shi Yang was very happy. He nodded his head while looking at He Qing Man, then said, "In a maximum of 1 month, I am sure that I will be able to break through the shelters. Believe me, I will help you deal with the Sound Beast Mountain after 1 month." 1 month. After Yu Ru raised her head looking up to the sky, she looked at Di Shan and asked, "Do we still have enough time?" "No worries." Di Shan calmly nodded his head, looking at Shi Yang. "I give you 1.5 months. Don't disappoint me. If you do, you will live to regret it." Upon his words, Di Shan turned around and left. He disappeared without a trace in just a blink of an eye. Yu Ru said with a faint smile, "In order to take that girl here, he had to fight with Duo Long, who had to suffer much harm himself. Finally, Duo Long could not say no to him. Although Di Shan is cold-hearted, he will keep his words. So, I should be grateful to you." Shi Yang nodded, looking at Di Shan's back shadow leaving, and indifferently said, "Remember, 1.5 months. After that, I hope you can bring us a big surprise. Otherwise, we will make your soul fly and scatter in this place. You will never get out of here." Yu Ru released a long sigh in her heart, stretched her hand patting He Qing Man's shoulders, then spoke to Shi Yang, "I leave her here for you. You know what to do." Yu Ru also left, following Di Shan. He Qing Man, Cao Zilan was astonished, staring at He Qing Man for a while, then said, You have almost reached the 3rd Sai of the Earth Realm. What is this about?" Shi Yang was also curious. Although the power in He Qing Man's body had been confined, inside of her delicate body, continuous sounds of the wind kept growling, the profound qi was intensifying, and her mind was stable. It seemed that there had been a big transformation that had happened. Entering this shitty place together, Cao Zilan and her companions had not had any improvements. As soon as they had just gotten in, they had been immediately captured. Because the leaders of the 2 pagan tribes had not regretted in giving him their precious treasures, Shi Yang had been able to break through that fast. However, He Qing Man clearly hadn't had that privilege, but what she had gained was not bad. This made Cao Zilan a little bit surprised. "I did not expect that I would see you this time." A streak of misery appeared on He Qing Man's charming face. "I had thought that my soul would have flown and scattered in another short amount of time. In fact, in another 10 more days, I will be killed by Duo Long, who will absorb all of the powers inside of my body. If Di Shan and Yu Ru did not come to take me, I will definitely have been unable to have survived. What happened?" Shi Yang knitted his eyebrows asking. "After entering this place, I fell into the Grey Wings clan's area. Because my body has the Wind Martial soul, Duo Long had confined me in a place where the wind energy was really intense. He's used my body as a container to store the wind energy, and then he would have absorbed that energy from me. He Qingman's face was still miserable when she told them her story. If Shi Yang did not ask for me, I am sure that I would not be able to have escaped from Duo Long's brutal blow. I had known about his wicked intentions, but I didn't have enough strength in order to resist him. You are thanking him? Jiu Ling Long laughed coldly. Currently, I am not sure you have escaped the brutal blow. Haven't you heard about his intentions of asking for you? I have heard that he needs girls to give vent to. He Qingman's face suddenly pinkened. She looked at Shi Yang without any fear and said, have you asked Di Shan and Yu Ru to bring me here so that you could actually do it with me? Shi Yang, why? Cough cark cark. Shi Yang dry coughed then said, you have thought too much. You are not the same as the other 3 girls. I will not do anything to you. That thing. I do not consider you my enemy, so I will not do anything to you. Indeed. Cao Ji Lan slightly bursting into laughter. I know He Qingman will be fine. She originally had not considered the Yang family enemy. She will not have bad luck like us. The expressions of Jiu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing was unsightly. Shi Yang, will you really treat them that way? He Qingman was little surprised. Although these girls have chased you for a long time, will you feel guilty with Xinyan Jie if you do that? Shi Yang's face suddenly changed. He harumphed and said with a cold voice, I know what I am doing. He Qingman frowned but said no more. She let out a long sigh, shaking her head. You find a room by yourself. It is very safe here. If I am still alive, nothing will happen to us. Shi Yang's face was cold. He turned around, walking to the secret chamber without saying anything more to He Qingman. If the 5 devils in his sea of consciousness hadn't had any abnormalities, killing Cao Ji Lan and the 2 others would have been the best way to take revenge. However, cultivating with the 5 devils was very dangerous. Even after the host soul had entered the sea of consciousness, he knew that if he did not finish cultivating the 5 devils in the sea of mind, he might have encountered danger later. It was with a reluctance to keep those 3 girls with him to prevent unforeseen occurrences. Regarding the feature of the cultivation of the 5 devils in the sea of mind, it was not convenient for him to have explained it to He Qingman. Therefore, even if He Qingman had thought that he was a lustful man, he still had to accept it. In the secret chamber, Shi Yang sat cross-legged with his back straight up. He held his breath, calmed his mind, and once again entered the sea of consciousness. He observed every commotion of the sea of consciousness to understand the transformation speed as well as the consciousness-conveying process of the host soul, sensed waves of the sea of consciousness one by one, perceived the marvelousness of the soul. His soul gradually approached the intangible stage. The host soul in the sea of consciousness quietly emitted soul consciousness which emerged with the God consciousness in the sea of consciousness. It borrowed the strength of the sea of consciousness to improve and nourish the host soul, gradually enhanced the host soul's power. His spirit immersed in the host soul, constantly moved inside of the host soul. It then finally reached an empty area of the soul consciousness. A black germ in that soul area released a cloud of black smoke. As soon as the black smoke flowed out, it immediately diffused, quietly spreading all over that soul area. Found it. Shi Yang's heart was shaken. He gathered the soul consciousness power in the sea of consciousness and the heat power inside of his body to transform them into the burning God consciousness lights. He then dashed them towards the black spore inside of the host soul. Crackling. The black germ was burned by the scorching light of the soul consciousness. As being attacked, it released more black smoke, but the light of the soul consciousness promptly surrounded it and burned it, destroyed it little by little. Not long after that, the black spore inside the host soul had been completely burned. In a giant gloomy hall, many of demonic Sound Clan's pagans were kneeling on the floor to listen to Yi Tian Mo lecturing about the soul's knowledge. Yi Siyu Bai and Yi Feng were also in the hall, focusing on the lecture. On the chairman's seat above, Yi Tian Mo suddenly trembled tremendously. Faint black smoke emitted from his eyes. "Father, what happens to you?" Yi Siyu Bai hastily screamed out loud. Yi Tian Mo's face got serious. The black smoke from his eyes gradually dispersed. After a while, his eyes returned to normal, his body also stopped trembling. The younger generation who surpassed the older, Yi Tian Mom muttered with a low voice. A strange light lit up in his eyes with a complicating expression. Jie, Chinese way to call an older sister. Hello guys, hope you have been still enjoying this novel. And we are grateful to all of you for your comments, supports, suggestions. As you can see, we are trying our best to provide you with the best translation versions within our ability. We do know there are still a lot of things to improve, but believe us, we are working days and nights seriously. So, we need more of your rates, votes, encouragements, and donation to keep us moving, smiley face. Just a little from you, but it is big for us. Thanks again. We love you all. Big kisses and have a good day. Chapter 258 Hunting. Half of a month had passed as fast as a blink. Shi Yang had been staying in the secret chamber for half of a month without caring about eating or sleeping. He had been concentrating on studying the ancient soul scriptures of the demonic Sound clan. After a half month, Shi Yang quietly walked out of the secret chamber without noticing Cao Zhilan and the others. He got out of the ancient castle alone. As he had just walked a few steps onto the streets of the ancient city, the matriarch of the White Wings clan, Yu Ru, suddenly appeared beside him, laughing out loud, then said, Shi Yang, why did you suddenly want to leave? I just wanted to take a walk and check on the sound beasts outside of the city. By the way, I will practice some of the control techniques of the Heaven Flame. You can, of course, follow me. Shi Yang said with a smile. I will go with you. In case you encounter any danger, I can help you out right away. You are now our two tribes' sole hope. The matter of your safety is very crucial to us. I don't want any bad things happening to you. Yu Ru spoke with a thoughtful and sincere voice. Not a problem. Shi Yang quickly went out of the ancient city's gate together with Yu Ru. Kaba's group from the demonic Sound clan had been astonished, as well as puzzled when they were informed that Shi Yang had left the city. However, knowing that Yu Ru had gone with him, they did not prevent him or say anything. Di Shan was in the city, also the first one, who had been informed about Shi Yang leaving the city, yet he had not stopped him. After going out of the city, Shi Yang, accompanied by Yu Ru, went straight to the Sound Beast Mountain. The Sound Beasts on the Sound Beast Mountain had begun to rebel again, after more than a month in silence. They massively flew out of the Sound Beast Mountain, plunging into all different directions on this abandoned land. As Shi Yang activated his god consciousness, he quickly located the place where the sound beasts had gathered. Approximately, there were about 10 sound beasts besides a swamp, in which some of them were playing. They did not know that danger was coming close. Sound beasts live in the Sound Beast Mountain year-round, absorbing the heaven and earth's yin qi from the mountain to cultivate. Either some fish swimming in the water or some stones on the bottom of the swamp are useful for a few of the sound beasts' cultivation. Therefore, the sound beasts cannot live relying only on the Sound Beast Mountain's yin qi. Yu Ru explained with a gentle voice. Shi Yang nodded. His figure suddenly flashed up like lightning, zooming forward, towards the swamp. He slightly sent out his thoughts. Radiant flames suddenly emitted from his palms like a rainbow flying directly towards those beasts. The oppressively scorching heaven flame could have burned everything up. All the creatures were very sensitive to fire, let alone the heaven flame which was the sound beast's nemesis. As soon as glints of the blazing fire had soared to the sky, the sound beasts immediately got frightened, hastily heading back towards the Sound Beast Mountain. Shi Yang's expression was cold and heartless. The corner of his mouth had curled up into a gloomy smirk. He slowly closed his eyes. The host soul in the sea of consciousness had transformed greatly. Each of his thoughts gradually poured into the God consciousness. Then, flows of God consciousness, one by one, massively scattered, clinging to the heaven flame's lights. The heaven flame was hovering in the air as if it had its own life. Its orbit was very flexible, marvelous, and spectacularly miraculous. Not long after that, each beam of the lights condensed by the heaven flame weaved together to create a dazzling arc of light, rushing down from the sky and covering the entire herd of the sound beasts. Sputter, sputter, sputter. As soon as heaven flame had touched the sound beasts, their bodies were immediately incinerated, fuming colorful clouds of smoke. Their bodies also dissolved quickly. Shi Yang was motionless, sending the god consciousness into each stream of light of the heaven flame as he constantly increased the heaven flame's calefaction. Since the host soul had entered the sea of consciousness, his sensing abilities surprisingly had been enhanced several times, being more competent in controlling the heaven flame than before. With the soul consciousness dominating, every move of the heaven and earth had been deeply engraved in his mind, as he was able to see everything clearly now. The strength of the soul consciousness had helped him improve tremendously in his abilities to control the heave flame. Under the effects of the host soul, his soul consciousness was like that of tentacles wrapping up all the sound beasts flexibly and precisely. Not long after that, the 10 sound beasts that were incinerated by the burning fire of the nemesis heaven flame. Their bodies had completely vaporized and dispersed. Colorful demons' crystal pearls, which were affected by Shi Yang's strength, floated on the swamp, which looked like some unique stars. Shi Yang finally opened his eyes, beamed a smile, then calmly stretched out his hand, grabbing the demon's crystal pearls. After he had stretched his hand out towards those floating demon crystal pearls, they then seemed to be pulled by some unknown forces. Those pearls quickly flew into his palms and disappeared into the blood vein ring on his finger. 12 demon's crystal pearls, it is not a bad harvest. But it is still not enough. After mumbling, he continued to emit his soul consciousness to cover the further range. Shi Yang's eyes suddenly brightened a few minutes later. He used the electric shift to quickly leave. The matriarch of White Wings clan's eyes lit up with astonishment, staring at the direction that Shi Yang had just left. It seemed that she was deep in thought. With her profound cultivation base, she had been quietly watching Shi Yang's behaviors for several days. She had clearly understood Shi Yang's body and the improvement of his realm. As he had easily killed many of the sound beasts this time, she knew that regardless of his realm or the ability to control, Shi Yang had broken through the extremely higher levels. This time, it was not a waste for Shi Yang to project the heaven flame. He did not lose much of the heaven flame's energy as it zoomed over the air. At the point when the heaven flame had formed a fire net, the heaven flame's forces seemed to shape a miraculous formation, which had upgraded itself several times in just a flash. Such progress had helped Yu understand that Shi Yang's concentration in cultivation was not useless. In only more than a month, Shi Yang's knowledge about the forces had obviously reached the new realm. Not bad, but it's not enough. I hope you can expose stronger powers soon. Otherwise, you still cannot convince that stubborn Di Shan, the matriarch of the White Wings clan mumbled, smiling as she was flapping her wings and quickly followed Shi Yang like she teleportation powers. Shi Yang had been wandering through the surroundings of the Sound Beast Mountain to search for sound beasts the entire day. Every time that he discovered a flock of the sound beasts, he immediately emitted the heaven flame, then used the heaven flame's force skillfully to tie up the sound beasts, gradually burning them into ashes. After that, he would take their demon's crystal pearls. At this moment, there were nearly 100 demon crystal pearls of different levels of sound beasts in his blood vein ring, among which, the lowest was the 3rd level pearls and that the best were the 6th level pearls. The harvest was quite big. That should be enough. Raising his head looking at the immeasurably high sound beast mountain that pierced up into the sky, Shi Yang mumbled with a low voice before speaking to Yu. Let's call it a day. Let's go back. Shi Yang, can you try to sense the sound beast mountain again to see if there are any changes? Yu hesitated a little bit before asking. You have absorbed the heaven and earth yin qi of the sound beast mountain, so you should be very sensitive with heaven and earth yin qi. You should check to see if the heaven and earth's yin qi in the sound beast mountain is more intense or more diluted. Okay. Shi Yang did not know exactly what Yu's plan was, but he still pleasantly satisfied her requirements. After sitting down and resting a little bit, he sent out his soul consciousness, urging the yin energy inside of the yin pearl at the meridian on his chest to combine with his soul consciousness and gradually diffused towards the sound beast mountain. Not long after that, Shi Yang knitted his eyebrows, stood up and then mildly said, "Thunderbolts outside of the Sound Beast Mountain seems to get weaker and weaker. However, the heaven and earth's yin qi in the Sound Beast Mountain is getting more intense. I can feel that there is something strange happening in the Sound Beast Mountain." "Ah, your senses are not wrong. Look at the sky above the Sound Beast Mountain. Yu pointed at the mountain peak, which pierced up straight through the clouds, and said with a somber face, "Did you find anything?" Yang raised his head, looking up to the sky. His eyes flashed up a stream of light. It seemed that there were lights converging consecutively in his eyes. The Sound Beast Mountain's peak was 10,000 jongs tall, reaching the sky where grey clouds were gathering. Thunderbolts intertwined as if they had wanted to cut the sky into pieces. Zooming through the sky with full of cuts, dazzling leaks of light were visible through those slits. The space over there, it seems, became more unstable. After watching for a while, Yang said in a low tone, "You have been observing very carefully." Yu nodded, replying with a forced smile. "The lightning seems to be able to tear the sky apart. It means that the time and space here is getting weaker. Perhaps, only one attacking strike of that terrifying energy could destroy this space. Once this space crumbles, the whole space will turn into ashes just in a blink. No creatures will be lucky enough to be able to escape." Yang's face changed dramatically. Yu continued, "In recent days, changes in the Sound Beast Mountain have directly affected the space at the peak of the Sound Beast Mountain and weakened it. In another 2 months, if we do not have any solutions in getting out of this place, our 2 tribes' souls will vanish as soon as this space collapses." Yu miserably smiled. "You and Di Shan both have cultivation base at the God Realm, can't the both of you escape?" Yang was astonished while asking. After releasing a long sigh helplessly, Yu said, "You don't know that this abandoned land was actually used to restrain our 2 tribes. We have lived here for millions of years, while some of us had reached the true God Realm. However, whenever someone had entered the true God Realm, there appeared a horrendously destructive God light in the sky above the Sound Beast Mountain's peak. As a beam of God light struck down, the soul of the person who had reached the true God Realm will have been totally dispersed." "What?" Yang was extremely frightened. Entering the true God Realm means that having the forces to control the time and space. Once warriors at the true God Realm reinforce their realm steadily, they will have a chance to get out of this space safely. The sky above the Sound Beast Mountain's peak has God power, which binds and controls us. It will not let any of our fellow pagans escape from it. Anyone entering the true God Realm will have had their souls vanished if they had encountered that God power." Yuru's eyes were gloomy. She continued, "So many years have been passing as many of the top-class warriors of the 2 tribes had known that they would have immediately perished as soon as they've entered the true God Realm. However, they've still put forth their efforts because they believed that if the warriors at the true God Realm were able to endure the one strike of the God Light, that they could then rely on the forces of the true God Realm to bring the 2 tribes out of this devilish place. Regretfully, those predecessors had all failed." Yang's face was confused. This was the first time he had felt pity for these 2 tribes. "Our ancestors have imparted their last instructions to us. One day, if a mutation happens in the Sound Beast Mountain like today, the chance of our 2 tribes in escaping has finally come. If we cannot catch this chance, the 2 tribes will truly vanish from the world's history." Yu stared at Yang and spoke in a serious voice. "Yang, you are our chance. I honestly hope that you can help our 2 tribes get out of this land. I don't know what the others may think, but I can assure you that if you can complete this successfully, I will put in all of my efforts to protect you." Yang looked serious as he responded with a low voice, "I will try my best." Zhong, Chinese measurement. 1 zhong is equivalent of 3.33 meters. Chapter 259 Mercy. Giant Stone Ancient City. Yang and Yu came back together. After that conversation, their relationship had remarkably been changed. This change was not easy to describe. However, Yang was certain that their relationship was no longer a mere exploitation. After returning into the ancient city, Yang walked directly towards the stone building where Yi Tianmo stayed to find Yi Siyu Bai. He wanted to talk to her. Yi Tianmo was instructing Yi Siyu Bai about something in the gloomy hall. After being informed about Yang's request, Yi Tianmo was a little surprised. He hesitated for a while before speaking to Yi Siyu Bai. "You go out there and see what he wants. That little rascal is the hope of our two tribes. We will do our best to meet any of his requirements to facilitate his cultivation. Yes, father. Yi Siyu Bai nodded. Yi Siyu Bai walked out of the hall in a very short time. She stood in front of Shi Yang, asking him with an indifferent face, "What do you want?" Since Shi Yang had asked the demonic Sound Clan for Cao Zilan's group of the 3 females to be the objects for his sexual satisfaction, he became a lustful jerk towards all of the clan. Even Yi Siyu Bai, who at first had had a feeling for him, did not want to see him anymore. Shi Yang neither cared about how the others thought about him nor blamed Yi Siyu Bai for changing her attitude. "Here, I have 93 demon crystal pearls." Shi Yang calmly hauled a grey bag from the bloodvein ring. He threw it to Yi Siyu Bai from a distance and said with a smile, "These beasts' levels are not bad. I know that they will be very useful for the demonic Sound Clan's cultivation. They are extremely precious source of support for your advancements." Yi Siyu Bai was bewildered with an amazed expression. She asked, "Why do you give me this many of the Sound Beast's demon's crystal pearls?" "It is to ask for your help." "About what?" "These demon crystal pearls will be exchanged for the human warriors who still survive in Yaji's hands. They are useful to me." "Warriors?" Yi Siyu Bai's pretty face expressed a weird look. Her cold eyes looked at Shi Yang's face attentively, then said, "Are you interested in males as well?" The delicate body of the matriarch of the Wild Wings clan, Yu Ru, slightly shivered. Her eyes raked Shi Yang with an unbelievable look. She came here with Shi Yang without having known about his intentions. She hadn't expected that Shi Yang had killed so many of the sound beasts to harvest the demon's crystal pearls in exchange for the other human male warriors' lives. Thinking about the fact that Shi Yang had asked for Cao Zilan's group before, Yu Ru's false thoughts were inevitable. She lowered her voice with a strange face. "Shi Yang, do you really have those preferences?" Ouch! Shi Yang was dumbstruck for a while before he could understand what was happening. He quickly explained, "Women's thoughts are really complicated. I need those male warriors only for my cultivation, but it is not what you have imagined. When you had asked for those females, you had also said that it was for your cultivations." Yi Siyu Bai coldly said, "I didn't expect that your tastes would have been so fickle. You don't mind neither cold or hot, right or wrong. I have actually underestimated you." Shi Yang, Yu Ru's eyes displayed a disgusting look. She proactively moved several meters away from Shi Yang. It seemed she had wanted to say something but kept silent at the end. "Damn it, it is not as what you think." Shi Yang beamed a forced smile. "I need those male warriors for a different purpose. Can you please have some pure thoughts? Why don't you go find Yag by yourself?" Yi Siyu Bai frowned, temporarily believing Shi Yang's explanations. She continued, "With these demon crystal pearls, he will certainly be happy to have had done some business with you. That little rascal has a deep hatred for me. I am afraid he won't listen to any of my reasonings." Shi Yang revealed a faint smile, and spoke to Yi Siyu Bai, "That's why I have to bother you in delegating this task to you." After those words, he did not say anything further. He turned around walking towards the stone building which temporarily belonged to him. Yi Siyu Bai was stunned. With her doubts, she held the bag of the demon's crystal pearls and went into the hall. After only taken a few steps, Yi Tianmo suddenly appeared in front of her and asked, "Siyu Bai, what did that little rascal want to see you for?" Yi Siyu Bai briefed him the story that had just happened. After listening, Yi Tianmo contemplated as strange light sparked in his eyes. Not long after that, Yi Tianmo's eyes were brightened. He mumbled softly, "Could it? What happened?" Yi Siyu Bai surprisingly asked, "Father, do you know what he wants?" "No, nothing. You should visit Yag and do the exchange. I will find out what he wants later." Yi Tianmaro frowned. He felt a bit surprised and somehow he seemed to have figured something out. Impossible. Could that little rascal actually have perceived the soul Upanishads of the demonic Sound Clan in just a short time? Does he actually know how to use the spirit seed? Outside the hall, Yu Ru was asking Shi Yang with a puzzled face, "Why do you need those warriors? Do you want to fight with them to improve your experience?" "It's not necessary. We only need you to break the shelter. We do not ask you to fight with the others." What do you want to do after all? Almost the same as what you've just said. Shi Yang revealed a forced smile without explaining anything furthermore. As he almost entered the building, he waved his hand to her and said, "You should mind your own business. I need to think about some more things." Yu Ru's picturesque eyebrows slightly knitted. Although she was still full of suspicion, she didn't ask any further. After thinking for a while, she shifted and quickly landed on top of another distant building. Di Shan was sitting motionlessly like a stone there. Di Shan slowly opened his eyes when Yu Ru came, asking her with a light, surprising look, "Has that little rascal left the city?" "Yes, he's gone out of the city to kill several of the sound beasts. He's harvested nearly 100 demon crystal pearls and used them in exchange for some of the warriors who are now in Yaji's hands." Yu Ru added, "I don't even know what he wants. His actions are strange, as if he has some ulterior plans. Regardless of what he wants to do, it's okay as long as he knows his mission." Di Shan did not move. He contemplated for a while before continuing. "When you had followed him to kill the sound beasts, had you seen that there was a significant improvement in his powers?" "Significantly," Yu Ru replied with a serious face. "His perception of power and realm has been upgraded to another level just in a half of a month. I believe he will actually be able to break the shelter in a very short time. His potentials are indeed hard to imagine. If he has enough time to develop, he will definitely become an outstanding warrior of the humankind's new generation." Di Shan was astonished and bewildered for a long moment. After that he said with a strange face, "Yu Ru, is that little rascal actually as good as you have said? You go see for it yourself. I am certain that you, by that time, will have different thoughts about him. Perhaps he would become our two tribes' only hope in the near future," Yu Ru gently said. After being deep in thoughts for a while, she continued, "I don't know why I always have a feeling that this little rascal is still hiding something. I don't think he is that plain and simple. Maybe what?" Di Shan slightly raised his voice. Yu Ru softly replied, "Maybe inside of his body, besides the immortal blood, there is somewhat another miraculous thing." "What?" Di Shan suddenly stood up with an astounded face. "What makes you say that?" Yu Ru inhaled a deep breath before speaking again. "I still vaguely feel that his immortal blood seems to be controlled by an unknown force. There seems that a flow of power which is even stronger than the immortal blood, yet is hidden extremely well within him. My feeling about it is sometimes on, sometimes off. That flow of power can somehow fool us." Di Shan got stunned with his eyes and mouth wide open. After a while, he mumbled with a low voice, "Is his coming here because of the god's will? If he really has transmitted strength from the immortal God King, I don't think we need to hesitate any longer. Let's see, we will have the answer soon. Yeah, I feel that his appearance in this place might be the beginning of our two tribes' rise to glory." In the middle of the spacious stone hall, Shi Yang had just come back. The four girls, Cao Zilan, Jiyu Ling Long, Qi Yang Qing, and He Qing Man walked out from the next stone chamber. 4 pairs of mesmerizing eyes simultaneously stared at Shi Yang, which gave him a scary feeling of being loved too much. "Shi Yang, where have you been?" Jiyu Ling Long immediately asked. "How is it related to you?" Shi Yang smiled coldly, sitting down in the middle of the stone hall with an indifferent gesture. Jiyu Ling Long was angry because she didn't know how to trouble him. She could only have stood at the side, showing her rage by pouting. She did not dare to irritate him. "Shi Yang, are you sure about what you are doing after all?" He Qing Man seemed to be concerned, asking him with a gloomy face. "If you cannot handle the shelters, I don't think that anyone will be able to get out of here alive. I've only said that I would try my best." Shi Yang slowly closed his eyes. After that, regardless of whatever that those girls had asked, he was simply unconcerned. The 4 girls couldn't do anything but glare at him. Half of a day later, the 2 leaders Yi Siyu Bai and Yi Feng were leading many warriors of the demonic Sound Clan, who were under Yi Tianmo's command. They were pushing a huge cage, gradually moving forward. In the cage, there was Pan Zhe and the other 35 warriors from the Endless Sea. Pan Zhe bowed his head dolefully as his spirit was exhausted. He was only skin and bone. It seemed that his life, recently, had been extremely tragic. The other warriors also looked really skinny and sickly, as if they had not eaten anything lately. Together, with their powers being confined, they were in a very bad condition. As soon as Pan Zhi saw Shi Yang, his dull eyes were lit up. However, in no time, he shook his head and released a long sigh. Shi Yang, I bring you these people as you wished. There are 35 survivors. It is lucky that you have asked for them soon. Otherwise, in a few days, I am afraid that there would have been no one left out of these 35 people. Yi Siyu Bai looked towards the demonic Sound Clan's warriors and nodded, signaling them to push the cage, in which Pan Zhi and the others were being confined, into the stone hall. After that, she explained, Yag has been extremely angry recently. It seems that he had wanted to kill all of them at once for his cultivations. He's actually started doing that. If it had not been for the extreme value of those demon crystal pearls, which were certainly much higher than that of these warriors, they should have certainly died already. The eyes of Cao Ji Lan, Jiyu Ling Long, and He Qing Man suddenly lit up. Shi Yang, have you asked for them? Qi Yang Qing was astounded for a moment, then she gently spoke, you seem not to be a totally heartless jerk. I did not expect it for you to have been merciful as well. After hearing what Yi Siyu Bai had said, those warriors inside the cage could not help but look at Shi Yang in gratitude. On the contrary, Shi Yang was still motionless. Even though his appearance was cold-hearted, he kept laughing in his mind. He thought to himself that if those guys knew the real reason why he had asked for them, he could not have imagined what they would have thought. Chapter 260 didn't consider them humans. In the stone hall, all the imprisoned warriors from the Kiara Sea, who had luckily survived, had cheerful faces, looking towards Shi Yang with grateful eyes. After Jiyu Ling Long and Chu Yang Qing knew Shi Yang had saved those warriors from Yaji's hands, their thoughts about Shi Yang had also slightly changed. However, Shi Yang's eyes still remained emotionless. After telling Yi Siyu Bai to bring more food the next time, he turned around and talked to the warriors in the cage, I have saved your lives. You will just be a little bit less miserable in my hands, but the consequences will be the same. As soon as listening to what he'd said, the faces of those warriors dramatically changed. What do you want? Jiyu Ling Long clenched her teeth quietly. All of them are in danger. Do you really want to kill them all? My cultivation requires some living people. They are just objects for me to cultivate. In my eyes, they are already all dead. Shi Yang coldly laughed and did not say anything further. He deliberately sat down, ignoring the others' vengeful eyes. His god consciousness slightly flicked. Shi Yang suddenly stared at one of the skinny warriors from the Jiyu family in the cage. Being scrutinized, that warrior's body trembled, suddenly grabbed his head, screaming painfully. What have you done to me? Shi Yang was motionless, continued enhancing his soul consciousness force. The soul consciousness had intruded that warrior's brain, moved inside to search for Yaji's soul formation technique. Shi Yang, what are you doing after all? He Qing Man could not stand but shout. She continued, everyone boards the same boat, facing the pagan tribe's threats. We should unite to deal with them. Don't you remember the old resentments? Chu Yang Qing and Jiyu Ling Long both criticized him impetuously. However, it seemed that Shi Yang did not hear them. He focused on using his soul consciousness to encroach the warrior's brain, shifting around to search for his host soul. While exploring his soul's features, Shi Yang was trying to find out where Yag had originally put his restriction. During this period of time, thanks to the demonic Sound Clan's 7 secret scriptures, Shi Yang had a thorough understanding about the spiritual Upanishads. And, thanks to this understanding, he could have completely removed the spirit seed which Yi Tianmo had planted in his host soul and totally escaped from Yi Tianmo's soul oppression. After having killed Duo Long, when Yi Tianmo had arrived at the ancient city, he had discreetly affected Shi Yang's soul. Yi Tianmo's soul accomplishment was extremely exceptional. He had silently planted a spirit seed in Shi Yang's host soul without Shi Yang's awareness. Yi Tianmo had spared his life because he believed he could have had controlled Shi Yang at any given time through that spirit seed. In fact, Shi Yang had vaguely speculated that Yi Tianmo had done something to him, but he hadn't been sure. However, As he had recently received the 7 secret soul scriptures of the demonic Sound Clan, after studying day and night, he had gained profound understanding about the different kinds of the magical spiritual Upanishads of the demonic Sound Clan. Until then, he had realized he could have been killed by Yi Tianmo earlier. In order to prevent being the other puppets during their critical moments, he still kept studying the essence of the secret soul scriptures of the demonic Sound Clan. Eventually, after he had sent his host soul to the Sea of Consciousness, relying completely on his new perception of the soul, he found the Black Spirit Seed. He then used the force created by the unity of the soul consciousness and the fire force of the heaven flame to burn the spirit seed down. After escaping from the latent danger, which was caused by Yi Tianmo's spirit seed, Shi Yang suddenly felt that different magical souls of the demonic Sound Clan were really peculiar and terrifying. To prevent a similar incident from occurring, he needed to perceive the spiritual Upanishads more profoundly. That was why he had the intentions to study it deeper. If he wanted to have a big improvement on the spiritual Upanishads, relying only on his own will was obviously not enough. Anyway, his knowledge about the spiritual Upanishads was still vague. There were many things that he did not understand thoroughly, and, if he had used himself in conducting the experiments, he would perhaps, negligently have vanished his own soul. Using others' souls to experiment could help avoid some unforeseen occurrences of his own soul. That was why he had asked for those warriors and Pan Zhi to study further with. As his soul consciousness got into that warrior's head, Shi Yang's mind slightly moved. His soul consciousness was now divided into 10 of millions of flows quickly moving inside of that guy's head to understand his brain's complicated structure first. After an unknown amount of time, when Shi Yang's soul consciousness in that guy's head gradually got weakened, as soon as his soul consciousness had almost contacted with that warrior's host soul, the warrior's host soul suddenly emitted a spiral wave and exploded. Boom! Shi Yang could clearly sense the violent explosive sound coming out from that warrior. As soon as the explosive sound echoed, Shi Yang hurriedly retreated his soul consciousness in fear. Jiyu Ku. Jiyu Ling Long let out an ear-piercing sound. As Shi Yang stared at that gaunt warrior with his eye wide open, he could see that that guy's eyes and nose were bleeding. His face was heart-rending as his pupils were enlarged. He was dead. Shi Yang, you have done another good deed. Jiyu Ling Long was like a small tigress showing her fangs and claws, jumping towards Shi Yang. You have to pay soul for soul. The bastard like you is worthy of having thousands of slashes. You will not have a decent death. Get the hell out of my way. Shi Yang angrily raised his arm, releasing one strike. Jiyu Ling Long's petite body was pushed back by an invisible force. She kept rolling on the ground until hitting the corner of the next stone hall's wall. As she stood up, her face was full of dust with a blousy appearance. She totally had lost her usual noble dignity. Shi Yang, what you've done is very cruel. Cao Zhilan let out a long sigh, shook her head and said, you could have just killed them directly. Why did you need to torture them, use them as objects for your cultivation? This is really. I didn't kill him. Shi Yang laughed coldly. There was a spirit seed which had been planted by the demonic Sound Clan in his soul. My soul consciousness had just entered his head, but I hadn't approached his soul yet, and the formation technique suddenly exploded, crushing his soul. The one who has killed him is the demonic Sound Clan who had activated that formation technique. Cao Zhilan got bewildered, hesitated for a while before saying, if you didn't send your soul consciousness into his head, the formation technique would not have been scattered, and he would not have died. The consequences are the same. If the formation technique exists and the opponent wants him to die, he won't be able to resist. I've used him as an object for my studies of the spiritual Upanishads. I would perhaps find a way to break the formation technique. Although some people probably have to die, I believe as long as I have a thorough understanding, I will be able to break those formation techniques. Shi Yang harumphed and then continued, they will die sooner or later anyway. Dying sooner probably still has a little value, which is actually a lucky thing. I didn't originally see them as human beings. If you can also think the same way, you will not be so brokenhearted anymore. After he had finished his talk, Shi Yang no longer cared about Cao Zhilan. Instead, he continued his studies. For 2 days, The 4 warriors of the Jiyu family had become Shi Yang's objects for his soul cultivation. Their souls had exploded, till they died one by one. Jiyu Linglong still wanted to risk her life to strike against Shi Yang, but Cao Zilan had advised her not to do so. Jiyu Linglong's pretty face was very fierce. She kept screaming and cursing Shi Yang not to have a decent death. She threatened that once she went back to the Kiara Sea, she would have used all sorts of different brutal ways to torture him. Every time that Shi Yang had been irritated because of her words, he angrily tore off a piece of her clothes to teach her a lesson. Until her snow-white skin was gradually exposed, including her big breasts, Jiyu Linglong was finally frightened enough, but still, she was very angry. She temporarily kept silent, stayed at the side looking at Shi Yang with the intense resentment. Her appearance looked as if she had wanted to devour him whole. Shi Yang still continued his study on understanding the souls. His soul consciousness once again intruded the brain of another one of the Jiyu family's warriors. This time, he divided his soul consciousness into 3 flows, in which he also added his spirit seal. The 3 flows of the soul consciousness had formed a small soul formation of the hidden God soul, secretly running towards the warrior's host soul within his brain. The hidden God soul was a special spirit skill of the demonic sound clan, which used the condensed flows of the God consciousness one by one to create a miraculous spirit formation. This spirit formation could have then hid all spiritual energies, which the host soul could not have found out about it. This was a new method that had taken Shi Yang half of a day to have figured out. Taking advantage of the demonic sound clan's special spirit skill, the 3 flows of Shi Yang's soul consciousness quietly approached that warrior's soul. Nothing abnormal happened. Previously, whenever they'd come here, the formation technique in those warriors' souls had promptly scattered, exploding their souls. However, this time, the soul force in the formation technique obviously did not discover Shi Yang's soul consciousness. It still hid deeply inside of that warrior's soul without any commotion. Shi Yang continued using his spirit to control the 3 flows of the soul consciousness to get into that warrior's soul. A triangle-shaped soul formation technique, which had hid itself deeply inside, gradually emerged. This soul formation technique had a triangle shape. Its surface was full of dense soul strings like thin silken fibers. Those tangled soul strings then formed a miraculous soul formation, consecutively emitting soul fluctuations, which observed the every move of this warrior's soul. Shi Yang did not feel strange with the demonic sound clan's spirit skills. He knew that a person who had placed this soul formation technique could also have easily activated it to either make one's soul explode or control one's soul in a short amount of time. 3 flows of the soul consciousness suddenly spread in and violently wrapped that formation technique. The burning fire inside these flows also erupted abruptly. Sputter. The soul formation technique, which had been placed by Yag, under Shi Yang's forces, was completely burned down in no time. Not long after that, Shi Yang suddenly stared at the warriors of the Jiyu family in the cage and stolidly said, "The formation techniques in your souls have been dissolved." Everyone in the stone hall was very surprised at first. Their faces were lit up with extreme joy. Indeed, only using souls of living people can improve one's knowledge. Shi Yang mumbled in a low voice. While the other people were crazily happy, he indifferently said, "Actually, I have dissolved the warrior's formation technique in order to replace it with my own formation technique in his head. Right now, I control his life." "You bastard!" Jiyu Linglong scolded irritatingly. Shi Yang's expression remained unchanged, cold-heartedly said, "Now, I have to lift all of your formation techniques, and then I will replace them with my own soul formation techniques. After all of these are done, I can be assured to freely use them as objects for my soul study. If they are not dead after being used for my soul cultivation, I will perhaps spare those lucky people's lives." Upon his words, the warrior's eyes, which had just parked with full of hope, now expressed disappointment. "You are the devil." Jiyu Linglong, Chu Yangqing, and even Cao Zilan could not stand but angrily shouted loudly. Their delicate bodies were trembling with extreme resentment. Let's take a break tomorrow. We will come back for more chapters on Wednesday. Thanks all. Chapter 261 Ruthless. What has that little rascal done recently? On top of a sky-high ancient fortress, Duo Long of the Grey Wings clan coldly asked with an unhappy countenance. Yu Ru and Di Shan were also at the same place with Duo Long. Both of them frowned, watching from above. They were sweeping their eyes at Duo Long from the distance but did not reply to him. Not long after that, Ya Meng, Kaba, and Yi Tian Mo, the three leaders of the demonic Sound clan, also flew into that place. After descending, they all showed unusual faces. Three of them had an exceptional cultivating level. Their soul power was ecstatic and miraculous. They could have sensed any of the commotions on the Sound Beast Mountain even though they staying inside of the giant stone ancient city. At this moment, 6 of the top-class pagan warriors were standing on top of the ancient fortress, looking towards the Sound Beast Mountain from a distance, shuddering terrifyingly. The sky over there looked like it was being torn into pieces. Each of the cracked rifts could have devoured and swallowed all of the creatures. All kinds of dazzling light interlaced at one point. Deep inside the sky, thunder and lightning were just raging on as the surge fluctuated. Tremendous enough to have completely destroyed heaven and earth. It was getting more and more chaotic. Those 6 pagans had a feeling that a powerful explosion could have happened any time at the Sound Beast Mountain's peak. Once it had exploded, this whole land would have instantly turned into a void. All the creatures living on this land would have been totally wiped out. The 6 of them understood that a major incident was coming close. Time was now rushed. Even the Sound Beasts inside of the Sound Beast Mountain seemed to have sensed the changes and started to get into a flurry. They began to act disorderly, trying to get out and survive. We are running out of time. Yi Tianmo's eyes were very serious. In another month, if we still cannot find the way out, I don't think any of us will be able to escape from this catastrophe alive. All 6 of them looked extremely grave. Di Shan, Yu Ru, in order to help that little rascal improve faster, I've given you guys the Heaven Fountain concentrated water, as well as the female human beings. How is it going after all? Duo Long asked with a cold-blooded voice. Because of our 2 tribes, I've restrained my anger and agreed to let everything go. But, if that little rascal isn't worth it, before I die, I will definitely peel his tendons, skin him alive, then let him suffer all kinds of tortures. Di Shan harumphed but did not say anything. He still has half of a month. After that, we will all take him to the Sound Beast Mountain. The matriarch of the White Wings clan seemed to be the calmest. Don't worry, Shi Yang has entered the second sky of the Earth realm. His knowledge and ability to control the heaven flame have also reached a higher level. After half a month, his cultivation would be perhaps stable. At that time, his abilities to use the powers would have been extremely skillful and profound. That is the right time for us to enter the Sound Beast Mountain. Yi Tian Mo looked towards Shi Yang, quietly activating his soul sense. Yi Tian Mo's grey-white eyes suddenly flashed up a surprising light after a short moment. It seemed he'd just found out about something. In terms of soul aspect, Di Shan, Duo Long, and Yu Ru, the 3 leaders of the Wings race could not have been compared to the demonic Sound clan, thus, they did not recognize Yi Tian Mo's sneaky act. However, when Yi Tian Mo retreated his soul sense, the other 2 leaders of the demonic Sound clan, Ya Meng and Kobo, had noticed something. Yi Ge, did you discover something? Kobo felt that something was a bit odd, looking at Yi Tian Mo while asking. Yi Tian Mo slowly nodded as his countenance returned to normal. He said, that little rascal has not been idle during this time. I have to say that this guy is really extraordinary. After just scanning the ancient scriptures of the demonic Sound clan, he could have had already broken through all the formation technique that YAG had placed in those human warriors' souls. Then, he planted his own spirit seeds inside of their souls. That genius can really shock me. What? Ya Meng's face changed, he screamed out in shock. Without our instructions, only relying on those ancient scriptures, how could he have known of the ways in using the spirit seed? How could he have disarmed the spirit formation technique of my son? How could he? Di Shan's eyes brightened up. You can check it yourselves. Yi Tian Mo coldly smiled. Meng and Kaba were astonished for a while. They did not hesitate to send out their soul senses to check if Yi Tianmo was right or not. After 10 minutes, Meng and Kaba both showed a surprised face, chuckling while nodding towards Di Shan and Yu Ru. What does it mean? Duo Long asked with a puzzled face. Let's say he could understand the essence of the spiritual Upanishads of the demonic sound clan, what can it prove? How useful can it be towards breaking the shelters if he can explain the spiritual Upanishads? If it doesn't help in breaking the shelters, his understandings will be useless, just a waste of time. Yi Tianmo glanced at Duo Long with a contemptuous look, and frigidly said, when a soul perception has reached a new level, its ability to control the surrounding circumstances are much more thorough, power handling will be more skillful, and the mental state will also develop. The demonic sound clan and the Wings race are not similar. Progress in terms of the soul will bring us many good things that we can hardly imagine of. He is not lazy. The stronger that his soul is, the easier it can be for him to break the shelters. Yu Ru said with a faint smile, there are still 2 weeks to go. I long for his performance after that amount of time. I believe that this guy can help us get out of this damn place, returning to the Grace mainland. Why do you trust him that much? Duo Long was very surprised. He had originally looked down on Shiyang. Yet, he also thought that if he had been at the Earth realm and possessed the Heaven Flame, it would not have been easy for him to have mastered it. I think that God will not let our 2 tribes perish. Yu Ru's eyebrows knitted tightly while saying, no matter what, we have to trust him. If we don't trust him, it means that we don't believe that we could survive. During the time when the Sound Beast Mountain had had a major change, a little rascal who can use the Heaven Flame suddenly appears out of nowhere. I have a feeling that our destiny had been settled when he showed up here. Perhaps our ancestors have heard our pleas. Destiny has been settled, Yi Tianmo mumbled again with a low voice. His eyes became eccentric. After a while, his face suddenly changed. He said, this little rascal's existence is the result of our ancestors invoking the God King? Kaba, Yag, and Duo Long trembled as their faces had changed dramatically. Only Yu Ru and Di Shan still remained calm. Yu Ru even chuckled and gently said, who knows, if he is really an autograph of a God King, I think that I will follow the ancestors' guidance. Our ancestors used to say that if a descendant of the God Kings could bring us out of this devilish place, we would have to serve him as our master. As soon as Kaba, Meng, and Duo Long heard what Yu Ru had just said, they were all dazed with confused faces while their eyes kept moving. No one said anything. Suti Sui. Inside the cage, Panja of the Penglai Divine Land suddenly gushed out a mouthful of blood, staring at Shiyang resentfully. In the stone room, Shiyang was neglectfully motionless, and slowly closed his eyes. There seemed to be a vague moving nimbus on his body. Heaven and Earth's spirit aura was attracted by the strange tattoo on his chest, quickly came and gathered. The spirit aura was constantly absorbed through this black tattoo, then turned into a purified force rolling into his body. When condensing and refining the qi, the meridians in his entire body quietly transported and purified the qi which he had just absorbed from some freshly dead warriors. He then turned it into a mysterious force and poured it right into the middle of his abdomen. Half of a day later, Shiyang slowly opened his eyes, indifferently shifted his look towards Panja, and calmly said, "You're lucky that you're not dead yet. Ease your mind. If you can survive more than 2 weeks, I will spare your life." Currently, there were only 12 warriors of the Kiara Sea left. The rest had been dead as Shiyang had carelessly experimented them for his studies on the spiritual Upanishads. The demonic sound clan had different kinds of magical spiritual Upanishads, which was extremely mysterious and marvelous. When he practically experimented with it, mistakes were hard to have been avoided. When he made mistakes, he had to pay a big price, which was someone's life. These warriors, who had been exchanged from Yag, became the best specimens for his cultivation. By risking their lives, Shiyang had progressed incredibly in understanding the spiritual soul as well as the different kinds of Upanishads of the demonic sound clan. For those who were his experimental objects, once their souls had been destroyed, refined qi in their body would spread out and went into Shiyang's body, turning into a mysterious and purified force inside of his body. With the great progress on the spiritual soul, profound qi in his body also had been enhanced steadily. He felt that he would soon have upgraded to a new level, entering the third sky of the earth realm. Shi Yang, you will not have a decent death. Panja clenched his teeth and angrily said, you'd better kill me soon. Otherwise, I will definitely make you pay a big price for this. Panja had originally controlled his emotions very well. However, during the time his soul had been tortured, he totally collapsed. When Shi Yang's soul consciousness actively stirred in Panja's head, Panja could clearly have felt something as Shi Yang's skill was still immature. Every time that Shi Yang had activated his soul consciousness, Panja had a feeling of hundreds of little worms were gnawing his brain. This feeling had made a steadfast person like Panja fearfully scream out. Panja was just better off dead as he was treated badly by Shi Yang time after time. An image of a hero in the past had no remnants left. Resentment was burning violently inside of Panja's heart. He was angry that he could not have torn Shi Yang's body apart. If you can survive, I will be waiting for your revenge in the future. Shi Yang revealed a faint smile. He thought, even if you can survive, I will place many formation techniques in your soul. In the future, if you return to the Kiara Sea, you will be my eye in the Penglai Divine Land and also possibly help me collect the latest information there. Ignoring Panja's screams, Shi Yang deliberately stood up, frowned, and looked at the stone door closing tightly nearby with suspicion. During this time, either because of their inability to resist Shi Yang or having other purposes, Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Qi Yang Qing persistently stayed inside of the stone chamber. After contemplating a little bit, when Shi Yang was about to go find He Qing Man to ask, he suddenly noticed that the blood vein ring had just flared up a stream of light. Oh! After activating his mind, Shi Yang immersed himself into the blood vein ring. He immediately realized that the earth flame was slowly condensing and refining the heaven flame. Its living form was getting more and more flawless as it seemed to have a little of qi energy similar to the one of the ice-cold flame. Has the evolution already been completed? Shi Yang was astounded. He instantly sent out his soul consciousness. Already done. I feel like I have a new life. I am really, really different. The ice-cold flame sent back its consciousness. Chapter 262, Intimidating Heavenly Prestigious Power. Half of a month later. 3 headmen of the Wings race including Di Shan, Duo Long, and Yu Ru, together with the 3 leaders of the demonic Sound Clan, entered the stone hall where Shi Yang was temporarily staying. Shi Yang was as calm as water, sitting motionlessly inside of the stone hall. Panja and the other 6 warriors of the Kiara Sea were standing in front of him with gloomy faces, disappointing eyes, and a dopey look. The 4 girls of Cao Zhilan's group were hiding in the stone chamber for a long time without stepping out once. Shi Yang opened his eyes, welcomed them with a cold face and a frigid smile. There you are. Yu Ru nodded and smiled. How is it going? It's time. I think we should depart at once. How about you? Are you ready? Di Shan squinted as his eyes scanned Shi Yang's body for a while with a complimentation. After 2 weeks, Shi Yang was only 1 step away from the 3rd sky of the Earth realm. His mind was stable, refined forces in his body were huge and powerful. Mature composure and confidence radiated from his attitude. It seemed that he was not bothered, even though he was undergoing a dangerous situation. From what Di Shan had observed, Shi Yang, for sure, was very special. Not only did he have the immortal blood, but his body was also unimaginably sturdy. Together with Shi Yang's heartlessness and cold-blooded behaviors, Di Shan believed that Shi Yang was the sort of a man who would have definitely achieved greatness in the future. During this time, he had been quietly watching Shi Yang. He had witnessed the warriors from the Kiara Sea become specimens for Shi Yang to experiment his soul studies. Shi Yang's countenance had remained unchanged when his specimens' souls had been exploded to death, one by one. Shi Yang's cruel deeds were actually a good trait in Di Shan's eyes. Everything is ready. Shi Yang slowly stood up, raised his head looking up towards the sky and said, "The sky and earth on the Sound Beast Mountain are changing constantly. We should hurry." After pausing for a little bit, he continued, "Are you ready?" We. Ya Meng surprisingly said, what should we be ready for? Isn't it only you, who will go there? Kaba's and Duo Long's expressions were also suspicious. Duo Long, Yu Ru, and Yi Tianmo slightly knitted their eyebrow as they seemed to have figured out what Shi Yang had meant. Once the shelters at the Sound Beast Mountain are destroyed, the 6 of you will immediately go in there. Shi Yang contemplated for a moment before speaking seriously. Certainly, there are some anomalies inside of the Sound Beast Mountain. Maybe the gate leading to the outside world is in there. Once this gate appears, perhaps this land will also have earth-shaking transformations and quickly collapse. It is easy for you to leave, but how about your people? Won't you need to bring any of your properties that you have been saving during the past years? Kaba's and Ya Meng's complexion had suddenly changed. You should prepare. Later, don't blame me for not telling you. Shi Yang neglectfully said, you'd better bring your people to the foot of the Sound Beast Mountain. When things tragically change, you all should leave at once. If this space collapses and you still haven't left yet, you've already known what the consequences will be of. Kaba, Ya Meng, and Duo Long did not say anything further, immediately turned around and left hastily with a little panic. Shi Yang looked at Di Shan, Yu Ru, and Yi Tianmo with surprise as they still stayed. Don't need you to be worried. I have already prepared. As soon as you leave the city, my people will catch up. Yi Tianmo said. Di Shan and I have planned everything. Once we send out our message, the people of the 2 tribes will depart at the same time with us. Our wings race is quite close to the Sound Beast Mountain. When we arrive there, perhaps our people might have already been there. Yu Ru said with a smile, seemed not to be worried. Shi Yang, I did not expect that you were that provident. You've known that the termination day of the Sound Beast Mountain is also the day that we have to leave. It's obvious. Shi Yang said with a smiley face, looking ahead and continued, it seems like we have to delay 1 or 2 days for Kaba and the others to prepare. Whenever they are ready, we can depart right away. We can go now. Di Shan seemed a little impatient. No need to worry about the other guys. Breaking the shelter also needs some time. Perhaps when you are done with it, they should have already been there. So, Shi Yang thought for a moment, then said, that's good. Shi Yang spoke to Yi Tianmo while looking at Pan Zhe, the other warriors, and the 4 frightened girls who were just walking out of the stone chamber. You help me take them along. They are still useful to me. Yi Tianmo raised his eyebrows, and coldly said, didn't you need to use these 4 virgins in order to have prevented your backfire energy? Shi Yang nodded, my fortune is still good. I have not encountered any anomalies while cultivating. However, after breaking the shelter, I don't know if it will occur. That's why I've asked you to help me bring them along. In short, those girls are my possessions. Do you have any problem with that? Di Shan and Yu Ru both looked at Yi Tianmo with a questioning look. Yi Tianmo slightly harumphed then replied with a frigid face, I will have them come along. Do you have any other requests? None other. Shi Yang glanced at the 4 girls then turned to Di Shan, Yu Ru, and said, we can go now. Let's go. Yu Ru walked over to Shi Yang and placed her white hand on Shi Yang's shoulder. Her snow-white wings flapped slightly, she gently leaped up at the same time and quickly disappeared out of others' sight. I'll let you handle these people. Di Shan said to Yi Tianmo before leaving. Yi Tianmo raked over Cao Lan, Pan Zhe and the others with a somber countenance. His white-grey pupils flared up some strange lights. Flows of his soul consciousness, one by one, flew out from his eyes, quietly sneaked into their heads. The way that Yi Tianmo used his spiritual forces were much more skillful than Shi Yang's. When his soul consciousness penetrated into their souls, even Cao Lan totally did not realize nor felt it at all. His soul sensing did not leave any clear traces like Shi Yang's, but it made the others feel as if there were hundreds of worms creeping in, bringing them a great deal of fear. Cao Lan, He Qing Man and the others were very insecure. They did not dare to look at Yi Tianmo, as they did not know what he had wanted to do to them. A long time later, Yi Tianmo deliberately retreated his soul consciousness, coldly harumphed and said, "You guys follow me." After having investigated for a while, he discovered that Shi Yang had removed the soul formation technique planted in them. Even inside the four girls' heads, there were no formation technique that bounded their powers. However, there appeared many mysterious formation techniques which had been placed deeply in the other male warriors' souls that the ordinary people could have had hardly felt them. The three girls, that included Cao Zhilan, Jiyu Linglong, and Qi Yang Qing, could not have avoided it either. Shi Yang had also planted the spirit seeds in the three girls' souls. Those three spirit seeds were going to germinate, which meant that in the future, once they left Shi Yang's soul consciousness could have been able to sense every single move of theirs. Only He Qingman's soul had not been touched. Yi Tian Mo could certainly have removed those spirit seeds before they rooted. However, he was worried when he saw Shi Yang again. Shi Yang would not easily let it go, but would have definitely troubled him. While thinking to himself how cruel Shi Yang was, he leaped up and flew away. Not long after that, Yi Tianmo's message was sent to Yi Feng's group. Following Yi Tianmo's order, they alternatively brought Pan Zhe and the others along, flying up to the sky towards the Sound Beast Mountain. Inside the ancient city, all the demonic Sound Clan's people started the preparations after receiving their leader's direct order. Yi Tianmo's flock were already departing in line out of the city. Meanwhile, Kaba's and Ya Meng's people were very anxious. Under the pressure of their leader's shouts and urges, they hurriedly packed their stuff, cleaned up their properties in panic. Everything became a mess. Even though many of the demonic Sound Clan's people were nervous, confused and busy, all of them had a cheerful face as if they seemed not to realize the danger ahead. The only thing in their minds was that they finally could have returned to their ancestral land. The three leaders kept putting a lot of good things about their ancestral land into their people's minds. Therefore, every single of them had imagined that the ancestral land to be a holy place where they could have everything. They felt that all of the good things there belonged to them. At the Sound Beast Mountain, where its peak pierced straight up to the sky, numerous sound beasts had spread out at every corner. Hundreds, thousands of them were gathering, feeling extremely insecure. They all got out of their caves all in a sudden as if they felt that the danger was coming closer. Deep in the sky, lightning was striking and the wild wind was growling. All were furious. Dazzling lightning, one by one, flashed, on and off quickly in the sky. Deep inside of the lightning, many brilliant colorful lights segregated, which were actually the rifts of the time and space continuum. They contained the tremendous heavenly power that could have eradicated all life. Any pagans of the demonic Sound Clan or the Wings race knew that in the sky above the Sound Beast Mountain's peak, there concealed heavenly powers, which were capable of destroying any warriors of the true God realm. They all knew that the heavenly power's existence was the warrior's nemesis, that prevented the pagans of the two tribes from ever getting out of this place. The phenomenal scene in the sky scared the Sound Beasts out of their wits, as well as panicked the two tribes' pagans who were having feelings that a murderous accident could come at any time. Boom! A flow of dazzling heavenly light suddenly projected from the sky. The heavenly light was like a giant sickle, striking down straight into the Sound Beast Mountain's peak. As soon as the heavenly light visibly appeared, a block of hundreds-meter-long ancient stone had been cut off from the Sound Beast Mountain's peak, violently falling down. Right when the heavenly light swept over a growling giant sound beast, the beast turned into a mist of blood just in a blink, leaving nothing behind. That was an extremely catastrophic death. Many of the sound beasts terrifyingly growled and howled, instinctively retreated into the Sound Beast Mountain. They didn't dare to have stuck their heads out. While the heaven was showing its intimidation and mightiness, Shi Yang, who was brought here by Yu Ru, arrived at the foot of the Sound Beast Mountain with a somber face. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,